Clock. Take a patient is, we have a new recorder with us this morning, and we'll just give her time to make sure she's still caught up. So I'd like to start by doing a short land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Indigenous peoples and the ancestors whose lands we now share. And seeing as we have some community members in the gallery, something we don't normally do, but let's just introduce ourselves, and I'll start at my far left.
Hi, good morning, Kaylin Shug. I represent Warrensville, Lock Cardinal area.
Gary Case, Lawrenceville, or Weberville.
Well, those W places.
It's okay, my ward is great.
Brandy Yasinski, Ward 3, Dixonville, Chinook Valley.
Laurie Decken, Ward 5, North Star Breaking Point.
Reeve Terry Ungarian, Ward 6, Hotchkiss, Hot Hills.
Good morning, everyone. Garrett Stickling on the CAI.
Good morning, I'm Pearl Lucan. I'm the Planning Development Clerk and your recorder for today.
Linda Halabisti, Cape River Concord.
Frank Reese, Davidson Down.
Okay, thank you, Council. The agenda, there's some additions on the agenda that have been provided. Anybody have any further additions?
Yes, I have an addition.
Okay.
Pat Coulter is here on behalf of the Northern Action Alliance. She's the president, and she would like to appear as a delegation at our next meeting to announce. What's the request?
Okay, so we were going to talk about that under item E, but we can add that under 6.1.1. Upcoming delegation, we'll call it.
And if possible, we move it up if there's an opportunity while they're here.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, if it's convenient and we can work it.
Jay, sorry, we have a delegation already that's starting at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, no, but this is just to discuss a future delegation. So when we get down to 6.1.1, we could move item I to the top.
Is that okay? I've got to do it right now.
No. Any further additions? If not, I'll have a motion to accept the agenda with the additions. Councillor Decken. Any other discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Minutes from our previous meeting on May the 13th. Here for your review. Any comments arising from the minutes? Any corrections? If not, I'll have a motion. Councillor Halabisti moves to accept the previous minutes as presented. All in favor? That's carried. Move down to 4.0. The delegations. Item A was Dale Bond, the director of the Ken Sargent House. Dale, welcome, and to come up to the delegation table. And I guess we already covered introductions, so hopefully you're paying attention. You know who you're.
Just don't test me.
And we also have some administration as well that we have introduced.
Josh Winter, Director of Finance. Charles Fall, Director of Public Works.
And you can introduce yourself and you can do your presentation. And we have it on our monitors here, plus the screen. So
Perfect. Thank you. My name is Dale Bond, and I'm here on behalf of the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital Foundation as the director of the Ken Sargent House. I imagine everyone in this room has fallen ill or been injured. Even more, I imagine that some of you may have had to travel outside of your community or has had a family member who has had to travel outside of their community to access medical care. Now imagine in the midst of all of that, you find not just a place to stay, but a true home, a place where you can rest, relax, recharge, and find others traveling a similar journey. Do I have control? I'm like, who has control of this? Okay. Our mission with the Ken Sargent House is to care for patients and their families who are accessing healthcare in our region, most specifically accessing healthcare in Grand Prairie. So a little bit of a history about the project. It has been a long time in the making. About 10 years ago, the Rotary Clubs of Grand Prairie had a vision, and their vision was to create a supportive accommodation for anyone traveling to Grand Prairie to access medical care. In 2023, the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital Foundation signed on as the operating partner as well as the fundraising partner for this project. And in 2024, Northwestern Polytechnic donated a 1-acre lot of land to be used for the build of the Ken Sargent House. And I'm proud to say that we will be doing our groundbreaking ceremony this coming week or on Thursday. We've come a long way. So the name Ken Sargent may be familiar to some of you. He was a local to Grand Prairie philanthropist and entrepreneur. And in 2023, he donated a $2 million gift to be endowed to help support future operations for the Ken Sargent House. And therefore, we did name the project after him. So welcome home. What will you find inside the Ken Sargent House? Basically, what you have in your house, you're going to find in the Ken Sargent House. Maybe just a little bit larger. Just over 16,000 feet of living space. We will have 21 private suites. 10 of those will have 2 beds. 9 of those will have 1 bed. And then we will have 2 fully accessible suites. We'll have many common areas, quiet spaces, a shared kitchen where families can cook their own meals, laundry facilities, a fitness room, a children's play area, a library or quiet room. And all of this is going to be about 250 meters from the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital. So why are we building the Ken Sargent House? As you may know, the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital is the trauma and cancer center of the North. Any trauma that needs to come from a community does have to stop in Grand Prairie, even if they have to continue on to a larger center. They do have to stop in Grand Prairie. We have a neonatal intensive care unit that accepts moms and babies from 32 weeks and up. We have mental health services for pediatrics, adults and geriatrics, an intensive care unit. We have 11 surgery bays. One of them is specific to maternity. And we have our cancer center, which there's only 5 locations in Alberta that have radiation vaults, and Grand Prairie is one of those locations. Last year, over half of the visits to Grand Prairie Regional Hospital were from outside of Grand Prairie that were admitted. And the average stay for someone from outside of Grand Prairie was 6.5 days. On top of that, we had over 10,000 visits to our cancer center, and we anticipate that that number is going to continue to increase. So where are we going? Where have we been? Our goal for this project for the build is $12 million. We've been gifted $4 million from the Rotary Clubs of Grand Prairie. I talked about that $2 million gifted by Ken Sargent. That, as I mentioned, has been endowed and will be going to support future operations. And we are still looking for about $6 million. And at this time, we have approached or are approaching all the different municipalities within the Northwest region, as well as reaching out to our business and individual communities as well. And we know that if we received $15 for every resident throughout the Northwest region, we would meet our goal. We also know that that might not be a realistic ask for every single municipality. So we would ask today that you do consider a gift to support the build. So what kind of impact will the Ken Sargent House have on families? Our goal is to model it after a place called Joanna's House, which is out of Kelowna. And even more closer to home would be something like the Ronald McDonald House or Compassion House, where we can offer an affordable rate. We're just working on our operation budget right now. So we're looking to charge around that $20 mark, a night mark would be our goal. So we know that the reduced financial burden will help families during those difficult times. Improved family well-being, enhanced patient recovery. We know that patients heal better when they're surrounded by their families. And the Ken Sargent House will be open to either the patient, depending on what the situation is. If they're an outpatient, maybe receiving dialysis or cancer treatment, the patient can stay at the house, or their support system, or perhaps both, just always depending on the situation, of course. It's an opportunity to have that sense of normalcy in that healthcare journey. Convenience with its location close to the hospital, an opportunity to still create positive memories. Even though we may have a sick loved one, it's still an opportunity to have some laughter, some joy, even if it's at bedside. And at the end of the day, our goal is to strengthen not only our community, but our whole region. All right, I'm just going to share a little piece of my own personal story of living in supportive accommodation with my family, and I'll just share this video with you. Dale Bond, and I am a wife and I lived in the ground. 2011. Very unique picture out of her. If you click it one more time. So I think we can all agree that illness truly is a great equalizer, and it doesn't matter what resources you have, what support system you have, what kind of money you have, illness doesn't care. Those things will help support you as you recover and you continue on that healthcare journey, but they're not going to stop things from happening. So with that, we are just asking that you consider a gift to the Ken Sargent House, and I am open for any questions you may have.
Good. Thank you all.
Yeah.
I can see you, you have a very invested in this with what you went through, and sorry to hear that, but looks like your daughter is doing great, so that's good news. And so, yeah, I mean, Peace River has a similar facility, not to the scale of what you're proposing, that and we've contributed to that, the Rotary House there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have personal stories too, and I think a lot of us probably do of receiving medical treatment in Grand Prairie, either with immediate family or extended family. And it is a challenge always to find a place to stay and being away. So just one question I had is when people stay at these, because I never had the privilege of staying at one of these, we've always either stayed with family or hotels, but is there a fee, or is it by donation, or how is that structured?
So right now we're in the process of kind of creating that. Typically it is a fee per night. So Ronald McDonald House, for instance, in Edmonton charges $12 a night. Joanna's house in Kelowna, I believe their fee is $25 a night. The U of A suites or whatever they are, they charge $40. So ours will kind of be in that range. So our goal is to make it $20 a night. That's kind of what we have in our plan.
So it's really, I mean, it costs a lot more to build and maintain a facility like that than when you're actually, it's not like a hotel where you're trying to recover your costs.
No, absolutely not. No.
Any other questions from council?
Yeah, how far are you at in the process? Like, you're just kind of starting now, or?
So we're going in the ground on Thursday. So will be our sod turning event. And then it's about a 65-week build they're anticipating. So I foresee us opening early winter in 26.
So there's no connection between this and the Vasco Center that's also being proposed right in that same area, right? So
no, they're right in the middle there, but there won't be any, there's no correlation.
Because they've also come to council and looking for support. So, and I mean, I guess all I can say, I mean, personally, I think this is a great initiative. I mean, we don't have budget cycle coming up until the fall, as most municipalities do. And that would probably be one place we'd have to look at it. I mean, we'll have a discussion at the end of the meeting and see if there's anything we can do in the short term, but make any significant contribution, they'll probably have to be budgeted somewhere.
Absolutely. Oh, for sure.
You said 16 roughly a person for donation.
$15 a person if we hit our whole region, and yeah, that's what would meet our goal. Pardon?
You would reach your goal that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm always told I don't talk loud enough.
So, I mean, and probably this isn't our discussion, but would there be private support from industry? Like, I mean, I know Grand Prairie is going through quite a boom right now with all the oil and gas activity and forestry, and so there's some pretty big corporate players there that you probably reached out to as well, or will be.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're kind of in the process of doing it all right now. So between March and September, we're doing all the municipalities, but at the same time, also meeting with, like, we're in Calgary in a couple of weeks with some of the bigger oil companies. And so, yeah, we are reaching out to everyone far and wide that may benefit.
Yeah. My experience, they've always been very gracious that way. You know, whether they're buying a turf for the truck wagon or a school or
Absolutely.
yeah, Gary.
What's the area that you are canvassing here?
So we're doing all of Alberta Health, like the zone that is supposed to head to Grand Prairie. So we're going all the way up to Mackenzie County, and then we went MD Lesser Slave River is kind of the boundary on the other side there. And then we're not going into BC at all, and we go up to Fox Creek. Whitecourt is now in the Edmonton zone, which it previously was in ours. So, but we won't hit like northeastern BC or anything because the numbers are actually quite low from that area.
And how about, higher levels of government, like provincial or federal, do they have any grant streams?
There's one granting stream we are exploring, the community facilities enhancement or whatever. So there's up to $1 million that we will apply for sure. So we've just put our expression of interest in for that.
We have submitted an application.
For the expression of interest to see if they will allow us to apply. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of granting streams government wise.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate your guys' time and just going to leave that behind if that's okay. It's just a few of our resources.
Yeah, we'll talk about this at the end of our meeting and we'll get back to you.
Of course.
Would you care for a pen?
Sure. Thank you.
Just a
I thought you were going to give me a mint. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'm in some of the other municipalities, they meet today as well.
I did Peace River last night, and then tomorrow I'm doing the cabinet meeting. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Your next delegation is not until 9:30, and I don't see them here yet. So, and then the third delegation is at 11:30, so let's move down to 6.1.1, council legislative, and as requested, we will move the addition of item I, upcoming delegation by Northern Action Alliance, I think it's called. We can discuss that. So, what, you had some comments on that, Fred?
Yes, so Pat originally applied to be at this meeting prior to the agenda being set, and there was already 3 delegations, so she was unable to get on that one. So the next meeting in June, there's 2 delegations there. So as we've had 3 today so far, we see no reason why we couldn't accommodate her on the 10th.
Yeah, and I don't think we have a problem with that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make the motion then that we accommodate this delegation on the 10th of June.
Maybe just put the name there, because that's kind of.
Yeah, national or the Action Alliance. Or the Action Alliance.
Discussion? All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you, council.
Okay, well, we'll just keep going to 6.1.1 until our delegation arrives. Maybe they got called out, they not arrive, no. See the RCMP, so they're kind of a fluid schedule. So item A is a Stronger Together Library Conference. And that's so last year, Councillor Salvisky definitely attended the conference. In the previous year, this year, just acknowledge receipt, accept information. Is there kind of a desire to attend again this year?
It's a very good conference. One thing, anybody else that wants to go to.
Oh, you said on Peace Library.
Yeah.
And you said on the manual one. No, I mean. If you think it's a value, it's. Not hesitate to send you guys if you're interested. When is that? That's not July.
It's not. They say the sooner you, if they work out really fast,
I think there was some early bird pricing. I'm okay to make the motion to send Councillors Salvisky and Deckard if they both can make it work on their calendars.
Okay, next to
we usually go together, yeah. See the one.
Wasn't long for 6 hours.
Yeah.
No
As long as we don't get stopped by the RCMP.
What happened last time, didn't it?
Yeah.
Eating?
No, like,
Yes.
That's a long story.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we have a motion that we would register Councillor Stecken and Halavisky for the conference in October. All in favor? It's carried. Item B is the council time change in the joint council agenda items. This is the joint council meeting with the town of Manning. So we typically move our start time to after lunch, just to accommodate the evening meeting. Everybody's having to travel back home and turn around and back again, so I think 1 o'clock start should be fine again then. Yeah. And any agenda items? Did you have any agenda items marked down yet? I thought I'd give you one quite a while ago, but I forget what it was even.
Cannot think of it at the moment, but I will be there.
One thing I'd like to add on there is recycle bins. And I mean, I'm thinking out loud and we'll wait to the meeting, but I think that if even if the county just pays for them and you know, puts them at the North Star transfer site or maybe someplace county property is accessible, and I just hear that more and more people are very disappointed that they've been recycling, trying to do their part for the environment, and now everything's just going into dumpsters. You go along or to North Star transfer station, and we'll take empty jars and plastic bottles or whatever, but just go throw them in the dumpster. So that's kind of defeats the purpose of your efforts. And I mean, it's the same with everything. Paper, cardboard goes into the burn tank there. So it's something we could talk about. And, I don't know what Manning had talked about putting curbside recycle, which is fine if that's what they choose to do, but maybe we need to do something that would be open to all residents in the area.
Would council be looking at adding that to this year's budget still, or will be planning for next year's budget on that?
That's up to our finance guru. He's got room in his budget for it. I have no idea what the cost is, right? I think Manning was paying, I heard it's like $600 a month, wasn't it? Or I can't remember what the number was. It's not a huge number. But,
You're paying 20,000 a year.
was it 20,000 years? I don't know. But I guess maybe between now and that joint meeting was when it's the last meeting of June, right? So we can research that and just see what, you know, get some quotes for what it would cost to do that. And not necessarily the same company that they were using, there may be other options. Maybe somebody at a piece server provides that service. I don't know. So anyway, we have a month basically. So if anybody thinks of any agenda items between now and then, let's just let myself or Gary hold in them. Fair enough. And so somebody want to make a motion that we change the start time and advertise it for 1 p.m. on the 24th of June. I can do council fees, and as well as add any other agenda items that may come up between, and not the day before, obviously, if you can avoid it. I mean, if something urgent comes up, we will over it. Okay, all in favor? You good for me?
Good.
Okay, item C. Pardon me. Oh.
Right on time.
Keep on coming straight up to the delegation.
Right, sure. Like.
Good morning.
Morning.
No, you're gonna fit. They're not meant for you guys.
No, they're not.
Kind of sit sideways.
You still a chair of arms on it.
Everybody has them too. No, it's not happening.
Weasel in here.
I couldn't even.
Yeah.
This morning.
Giant eye fact doesn't help.
Taking time to join us.
Thank you for having us.
And I know you've met some of us before, but just let's introduce everybody again, just so you know who we are, and start with Councillor Reeve.
Good morning, Brent Reese, Deadwood, Sunny Valley.
And how this will figure the market do.
Lincoln, planning development clerk.
Good morning, I'm Gareth Sneaking,
Good morning, I'm Terry Ungarian, Ward 6, Kamachka Stock Hills, and currently the Reeve of the council.
Victoria Deckend, Ward 5, North Star Breaking Point.
Brenda Yasinski, Dixon Ocean Valley, Ward 9.
Eric Days, Ward 1, Weberville.
Kevin Chuck, I represent Warrensville, Locker Now area, Ward 2.
You have a couple of administration behind you.
Josh Hunter, Director of Finance, and Charles Schwab, Director of Public Works.
So welcome and introduce yourselves, and then you can just run to your update, your quarterly report.
Sure, I'm Staff Sergeant Lacey Blair. I've been selected to be the Peace Regional Detachment Commander for the next foreseeable future, so you'll be seeing me. Thank you. Came all the way over from Fairview, so I'll be from the area. I'll be moving over into Peace.
Last time I was here, I was Constable Fogarty, now I'm Corporal Fogarty.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Which
There's
means
Andrew.
you're stuck with me now, so it's a little more permanent, but yeah. Sergeant Dave Lee has now moved on to Beaver Launch and beyond, so I'm the interim acting detachment commander for the time being.
So there won't be a sergeant here, just be.
At this time, it'll be me, yeah.
And you work out of Peace River? or-
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Great. So what's the good news you got to tell us, or the bad news, or?
What do you want first? No. Well, for Peace, obviously we cover a portion of the area up to Dixonville and that. So we've seen a bit of an increase in crime. Our break-in enters are up in the rural area, which we are forming a team to kind of tackle that issue. We know it's a growing issue, not just in Peace River, but kind of an everywhere thing. We are still encouraging residents. If you guys see something like you're the eyes and the ears in your community, you guys know them better than we do. Just encourage your people in your residence areas to call us, report crime to us, so we're able to direct our members and focus our efforts on different areas within the areas that we police. A couple of things. Kaylin is super busy with a lot of the committees I sit on her with. A lot of the issues that we have in Peace River kind of bleed out to the area in our communities. So we are working closely with our councils to tackle the mental health and addictions that are currently happening within the town, as well as our outlying communities and the homelessness issue that we have been experiencing there in Peace. Right now, our shelter is closed for the summer. Sagatawa is closed until November 1st, where they did not get grant funding for this year. So we are working closely with them to find places for the residents who are unhoused and where they can go get them back into their communities and get them the supports that they need. Mental health and addiction is a huge issue that is forever increasing, unfortunately. So we are working closely with AHS. I believe we have a psychiatrist coming to the town of Peace River in the next month or so. So that'll be a huge asset to the north, and we continue to advocate to get those resources to the north. I'm from the north. I know that the north is lacking a lot of these resources. We had a lot of the MLAs for the north come down to the meeting that we had in Peace River there last Thursday and just kind of advocated. And it was nice to see a lot of the residents come out and let them know the things that we need in our communities in the north and how they need to support us. So we will follow through with that moving forward. Moving forward with the detachment of Peace River, our APP, so our focuses for the next year, that we have entered a new fiscal year. Main things that we're focusing on, drug and gun crime. We know that is out there. Properties, break-in enters, prolific offenders. And another thing that we've added onto our list this year is traffic, mostly focusing on impaired drivers. We've kind of moved over from your regular tint tickets. Speeding is still a huge thing that we're focusing on, but we're focusing more on impaired drivers. Believe it or not, Fairview got one yesterday on my way home at 3:30 in the afternoon. Individual driving on Highway 2 impaired. So those are things that we want to focus on to keep our residents and individuals using our highways safe. That's from the Peace River side of things.
Just that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of similarities, like we share we share a border, we share the same, the County of Northern Lights and stuff like that. So we see a lot of the same issues south and to the north as well. So we're seeing a lot of a little uptick in property crime. So we've reached out to some members as well. We don't have much members to make a team, but it's kind of a team collaborative effort in the sense that we're going to try and come up with some plans and ideas to kind of stop that and or maybe kind of catch somebody. I don't want to give away too many kind of secrets here, but yeah, we have something in the works to hopefully catch somebody doing something that they shouldn't be doing. We don't really have anybody like targeted, like we don't have one person that's doing this, just somebody that's just like a crime of opportunity that's coming in. They see a vehicle or they break down or whatever, they see a vehicle and they're like, yep, this one still has the keys in it, so I'm going to take that. So it's a lot of silly things like that. Like I'll go around and I'll talk to all the members in all the different communities and stuff like that. Like when I leave here, I'm going down to Deadwood to have Deadwood coffee, and then and talk to the people about locking their doors and maybe have a couple cameras up or something like that. It's not going to hurt anybody. They're fairly cheap these days, but we've also more often than not lately it's the dump, the transfer station that's been getting hit. So people are just stealing garbage. It's hard to police that. People are stealing garbage, but it's the breaking into the actual shack itself and into the thing that's the real crime there. These poor folks are just buying chains and locks left, right, and center. Yes, and touch on our APPs. We have traffic is one of our biggest ones, so we've already started an uptick in our traffic enforcement. We're hoping to do more check stops throughout the year as well, kind of sporadically, randomly. Just like you said, like on a Monday afternoon, somebody was drinking and driving on the highway, so it doesn't mean that it's not happening here as well, right? Yeah, and then we're hoping to be a lot more present. We're getting a new member at the end of June. She has 17 years of service, so that's going to be a real asset to the community, and she's very, very community oriented. She's expressed that she likes to dress up in our red surge and fly the flag and be as present in every community event possible. So that's going to be fantastic for us and for the community itself. And we keep telling everybody as well, like if you guys want our CMP members to be there or present, or you guys need or want something, like we're there. Just ask. We're happy to help. We're happy to be present. Be happy to just.
And branding cows.
I've branded cows before. Yeah, I'm an East Coast boy, but like I started in Brooks, and I've been to a couple cow brandings, and what a time! What an event! Yeah, you call and we'll come. I wouldn't wear all this.
Yeah.
So there was an accident over the weekend.
There was, yeah.
First of all, the member of the day. Secondly, do you guys still have enough vehicles in the area?
What was the second part?
Do you have enough vehicles in the area?
Well, right now we are down to one vehicle, and Staff Sergeant Blair was very gracious to lend us one of their vehicles. So we have a vehicle that's in Peace River at the shop, kind of just getting fixed up and diagnosed with whatever issues it it's having. Kind of not really telling us a whole lot. It's like, yep, still looking at it. So that's about all the updates we have on that. But we have one vehicle that's ours, one in the shop, and then we have Staff Sergeant Blair's from Peace River. So right now we have two vehicles, and that's kind of the bare minimum. I've reached out to our like a procurement and our garage people down in Edmonton, like, hey, wouldn't hurt to have another vehicle up here. So I'll hopefully have a response from them today. But yes, the member is okay, pretty sore, but no broken bones, no concussion, nothing like that. But he's basically living in an ice pack and just crushing Advil.
Off duty for a while or back on?
Oh, he'll be off he says for a week, but I think it'll be a little more than a week.
Established positions and adding a 6, and you currently have 4 working, is that counting because one is of the accident? Or-
So we have, yeah, myself, and then the 3 constables, and then the 1 constable is off for the next week, maybe 2, probably
Okay, so
2.
that would give you 5 then,
Yeah,
once he's back.
that's right. Yeah.
And you're
And then
still-
we're gonna have another member at the end of June. And that'll be, we'll be fully staffed minus a sergeant.
Questions, council? So this is just a comment and no, it's not any. I'm not trying to beat up on how you perform your job.
Go for it.
But so there, I think it was last weekend, there was an incident up north on Highway 35 between Twin Lakes and
Mhm.
Carcathy Kid River. And so there's a residence at Twin Lakes, the old Twin Lakes Lodge there. And he works for me, so he comes down to my farm every day, he drives back and forth. He got up in the morning, his pickup was gone, right?
Mhm.
And the keys weren't in it, but they somehow got it started and he hasn't seen it since. And he asked me, well, shouldn't they come in and just knock on my door real quickly, like a minute, and say there's a violent offender in the area we're looking for, just be aware of it, because he has lots of outbuildings that he could be hiding in, and.
I spoke to him about that as well.
And I said, if I'd known that, he said, I would not have gone to bed, I would have been up all night watching my stuff, he said, and I know we can't change it, but just maybe in future, it might be something you.
If we had the manpower and if there was like a threat to life or people's safety, pardon me, like an imminent threat, then we would absolutely go door to door. But we don't have the manpower to go, and granted, in that area, it's not like it's a massively populated area. There's not like hundreds and hundreds of homes to go, but we just didn't have anybody, because we had everyone looking for the guy or blocking traffic or looking for the guy. But yeah, I had spoken to, I can't remember his name.
Pete.
Yeah, so I had spoken to him on the phone, and he had phoned in with the same concerns and valid concerns. I don't want to dismiss them by any means. But if there was something imminent, like he was running around with a firearm or anything of the sort, then yeah, like we would tell people about it.
No, I say we can't change it now, what happened, right? So
For sure. But that's something that we can keep an eye out for and keep in mind should that once a year event kind of happen.
Did they ever find that suspect or not?
We know who it is. We never did find them.
Right.
They were just doing circles in the bush, walking through the swamps, and just kind of confused the dog, and the dog ran about 20K, like within a 1.5 kilometer radius kind of thing, just doing circles, and just never got the guy. And we had all available resources. We had 2 members from High Level come down. We had the K9 unit from High Level come down. We had our RPAS, like the drone, come down, and we threw everything at it. It's just unsuccessful.
Did a good job of evading it.
Yeah, it was not his first time.
But that, and then probably strong chance for that truck ended up, right? There's no evidence of that, but.
We highly suspect,
Yeah.
but can't prove it. But the members in Paddle Prairie and High Level, they're vigilant and they're diligent in looking for it.
Yeah, they've been all over.
Everywhere,
Yeah,
everywhere.
they're trying to find them, and we're there on Sunday.
70 well, thanks so much.
All right, any other comments or questions from council?
We hear things like hard drugs coming into these communities, like we never used to hear that and stuff like that. Are you dealing with that more?
So that goes into our traffic enforcement. So there's a program that we have, it's called like the pipeline. So this road is a gateway to the north and the south, right? So you're not going to deviate Highway 35 too much to go north or south. You're either going through like West Lock and all the rest of it, and High Prairie to Hay River and beyond, and Yellowknife and beyond. or you're coming up through Manning and Peace River on Highway 2. So what we are starting to do, and we're pushing a lot more, is looking for indicia of these things. So like somebody would have like some drug paraphernalia and stuff like that, and that we'd be able to search their vehicle legally, but it's kind of a difficult thing to just pick one out of the hat and be like, you're the guy. It's just kind of right place, right time for a lot of it, but it's something that we recognize, and it's something that we're working on.
We've also had break-ins that are out of property, that's been kind of plagued with it actually. That seems like it's not getting better. So,
And where's your property at, sorry?
we had break-ins at Warrensville, Dixonville, where else?
And they put up cameras or whatever.
The vehicle stolen multiple times, tools, and I don't know if it's same, seems like it's the same ones targeting us, but I'm not sure.
Well,
I did just have one more quick. Did we get our VSU navigator for Manning now? Do we have that in place for our victim services?
I don't know what a VSU navigator is. That sounds fun. Oh, that's their title?
Yes, you're in town. Oh.
We have one, yeah.
Okay. Here now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Trish.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I know it was kind of influx the last time we saw you. I just
Yes,
remember.
but
Sorry.
2 weeks, I think she's been there 2 weeks now,
Okay.
settling in nice, and she's
Good.
just been plagued with all the paperwork and all the little
Perfect.
courses and meetings and everything else that she's been taking.
I feel you, they give them big names and change names and it's not
Yeah,
fair.
But yeah, she's fantastic. She's got a great attitude, and she's excited to hit the ground running.
Perfect, because I know that was a long hiring process.
Yes.
Like the clearance is insane.
Yes, and thankfully that's all done and dusted, and then she's got a nice little office in the corner, and she's happy and ready to rock.
Perfect,
And that'd be for the whole general area as well.
awesome.
so we do have a joint council meeting with the town of Manning Council on June 24th. And you guys came, I don't think in the last one or 2 meetings ago, like we have them quarterly. And so I just maybe put that on your, kind of on your calendar, and if we'll send you an invitation if we decide that we would like to have you come again. I think we
Please
appreciate
do,
it.
yeah. I'll give you my business card. And there's a 12,000% chance that I'm gonna forget. Especially in a month from now.
Just what exactly, so we'll reach out to you and when we start putting the agenda together. And,
Please do, yeah.
yeah,
Any kind of plan or anything that you want to touch on, anything, let me know.
I mean, if it's only just a 5-minute stop by to say hello, just kind of keep that connection. We appreciate that.
Happy to. Easy.
All right, well, let you get back to doing what you do.
Fighting crime.
Perfect, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
These updates.
I'm gonna take the chair with me next time.
Something out there. Yeah, let's take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene at 10 o'clock or thereabouts. Maybe. 6.1.1, item C is the Canadian Motorcycle Tourism Association. We see the recurring invitation that we typically can't make it to. Yeah. And I was approved to go 1 year and it just didn't work out, the timing. So I don't think we've ever actually attended in person. We did donate some funding at one time, so. I don't know what council wants to do with this.
I'll give that for information.
Okay, we have a motion by Councillor Reeve to accept the information. Any other discussion? I mean, I think this is a worthy venture, but, guess we've only got so much donations to go around, so. Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'll call for the vote, all in favor? Carried. Item D was an invitation from Alberta Forest Products Association for an open house invitation. Got the date wrong there, but we know it's 2025, June 11th, 2025. So they've invited myself or the deputy Reeve. I'd love to go, but again, it's just a really busy time of the year. And I don't know that it's really. This organization really supports our forest industry, which is our biggest industry we have, and we like the municipal partnership. So that there will be lots of municipal people there. But I don't know, Brenda, if you.
Well, I just not going to do the 2 hour
Yeah.
session wasn't really, like, unless you're already there, right? So.
Yeah, I think we'll graciously decline. See them at their AGM in September, it'll be the better fit where it lasts a couple days, not a couple hours. Okay, Councillor Striski makes a motion to accept the invitation as information and decline. All in favor? It's carried. Item E, town hall meeting, proposed agenda and recommendation. So this was requested by council recently at a town hall meeting, and we agreed to. We just haven't set a date yet or what the agenda will look like. Kind of got a draft agenda there, but
Yeah, so I'd like to speak to this. So originally the intent of this meeting was like a town hall style meeting, like a ratepayer meeting. And it's no secret that there are quite a few people in this municipality that are not on board with nuclear power. It's always controversial. So I think the intent of the meeting was just to sit down with our residents. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just council and our CAO. And Terry, you've attended quite a few events related to the industry. I mean, surely we can talk with our residents just one-on-one. I don't see that we need a professor and all the expense with it and government people. Like that's again, the intent was just us sitting down with our residents. You know, council has made a decision to accept this proposal. This nuclear power proposal. So I think fair to just sit down with our residents and explain what's happening with that, reasoning behind it, and just listen to their concerns. And again, we don't need all these other distractions here. But I know people are not going to go to this meeting to listen to a professor.
I've got a question on that, if I may. Are you only going to limit then the open house to county residents to being a county open house?
I don't consider it a public meeting. I think that anyone would be able to share. Just like a council meeting, anyone can attend, it's a public meeting. Again, it's not it's just to sit down with our residents and hear their concerns mostly. Yeah, I mean,
What about the ones that want it?
well, then they can come and share their issues as well. It's not just, it's for everyone, right? It's just us sitting down with our residents and this is, you know, we hear what's been going on for a year, lots of meetings with industry, but not any with our residents on this particular issue. And I think it's fair that we just sit down with them and hear their concerns.
I for one know that some of my residents have gone to these open houses that they want, whatever it's called, nuclear meetings that they had. And they were on, they said they asked for questions, they asked questions. But I don't know why someone is saying that they haven't been.
Oh,
heard.
well, I'm just saying that we have not sat down with our residents to
As a group.
explain this, the reasoning, the decision, okay? Again, this is controversial, it's to be expected. There's always gonna be opposition to this sort of development. And so I think it's reasonable just to sit down with our residents one-on-one, like a regular meeting and talk with them. With this,
Here, yeah.
yeah, this is, $5,500 to bring this guy, and that's not gonna go over well with the public, I don't think.
I guess the only other thing I think is the phone calls that I've taken, which I will admit haven't been many, I'm not sure if people just don't want to share their opinion with me, or if they just don't feel like they can reach out or what the issue is, but the few that I've had to have conversations with, they want firsthand information. They want it to hear it from the source, not third hand, fourth hand, or whatever. So I think there is some value in having some people in the room that are experts that can answer those questions that we can't answer. Do I think that we need a huge professor? I don't really know, but I would like to see some of the professionals in the room so that there is good information, because what I've heard from my residents is that's just what they want. They just want the facts. For a lot of people in my ward that I've talked to, they weren't around when the first go around happened. I mean, I wasn't around when the first go around happened, so it's all very new. So we want just good information from the source to make decisions on.
Yes, and so the Energy Committee has been quite active for the last year, and I think that could be one of the sources of, for discussion there, the Energy Committee, because I'm unclear myself on some of these details,
For sure.
what's going on there, right? So those are things that people are curious about.
Yeah, and so I hear that. So I think like this format is okay, but maybe scaled back a little bit or adjusted a little bit. But I think that it's important that it be a little bit more than just a simple rate pair. I mean, I think we need to have some people in the room that can speak to it, just so that the residents feel like they're getting good information from the experts.
Your question?
If I can maybe give a little bit more information about the fees. So I've reached out to the regional CAOs, and I know most of them are having their council meetings this week. I literally got an email about an half an hour ago from the town of Peace River. They had it on their agenda last night, and they were good that we do a cost sharing in bringing the resource up, because they would also like to use the resource. And there's also discussion that we might, as the group, then you, as the group, Peace Regional Energy Group Commission, or Peace Regional Energy Group, can actually use a committee and actually use some of the funding that we got, the grant funding for this expense.
Right. And to build on that, we talked about having, since we're such a large municipality, start with the meeting in the south, we said, because that's close to where the proposed project is according to the IPD, and then move on to the north. Probably Manning would be, central to Big River, Deadwood, all the regions, so we could double up on this, which split the cost even more than, and using that grant money that was already allocated from municipal affairs for these collaborative efforts. So there wouldn't be any, I don't know there'd be much direct cost to the municipality out of the budget if we cost share it with Peace River's on board now, and the other MD Peace and Northern Sunrise are meeting today, so we'll see what comes out of them. And so I don't think cost, and I agree with Caleb. I think to have somebody in there, Neil Alexander, I don't know that he's a professor, he calls himself a doctor, so I don't know what his, but he's totally unbiased, independent. He doesn't let somebody write a script for him.
Excuse me. So where did his name, how did his name arise?
So he was, when Birch Hills was, and they're still proposing an SMR in their municipality, he was there. And then when myself and Reeve Willing went to Ottawa for the Canadian Nuclear Association, ran across him there again and just had a quick talk with him. He wasn't presenting there, but I recognized him from the Birch Hills meeting and just paid notes with him. And this was not proposed at that time, just kind of stopped and said hi. So yeah, he's got over 40 years experience in the nuclear world.
Yeah, so there really is no such thing as an unbiased nuclear expert. I mean, this guy, he works in the industry. So my concern with this is that we're turning this, what was a town hall, the intent was a town hall event. And we're turning it into an infomercial for this industry. That's what it looks like. Yeah, I don't know that we need a firewall between us and the public. But why can we not just sit down with our residents?
We'll have the opportunity. I mean, there's gonna be a public Q&A session and we'll have that one, but this is just, I mean, the more information we can provide, I think the better to answer the questions that we don't have answers to.
Yes, I agree. I think it's important that we have factual evidence or factual information presented. And I'm pretty sure there will be questions that we can't answer and the experts can answer in that.
Okay, so my question is, so do we have anybody on that isn't on board with nuclear coming there to say what is wrong with having it?
How do you mean anybody?
Well,
It's a public meeting, so.
yeah, but what, we have an expert here, this doctor, right? Alexander, whatever his name is, and if you say he's non-biased, how do you mean by non-biased?
Well, he's not working for the proponent, he's not working for the municipality. He's totally neutral and just to express some background on the industry.
Well, he's been employed in the industry for decades, so I can't say that about it.
Maybe I can comment on that one.
Yeah,
Councillor, so I haven't received, or I reached out to council to get some agenda items, and that wasn't one of the items that was raised, but we can, if there's somebody that wants to have a turn, I'm sure we can put them on the agenda.
Absolutely. Everybody is entitled to an opinion. If there's a group
I'm
that,
just wanting it to be even, so they can't say that we're trying to sway everybody just this way.
That's a good idea. We should
That's
have
all I
someone
was
else
asking.
tell the other story there, so it is balanced.
Well, and I think maybe like the other thing that we should really make sure we do is that it's not presentation heavy either, right? Because nobody wants to come to this meeting and be talked at. They want to vocal their, or share their concerns, right? And we need to let that happen. But, yeah, I think it would be nice to have experts in the room. I think there's a lot of us who are new to the area that never were here for the go around, and we can't go off of what happened last time because that was years ago and we need to make informed decisions going forward, right? So we need to be able to have a fair shake.
And I agree that we for sure need the provincial and federal levels there to say how the licensing goes and everything, because we don't know that.
well, it's not our jurisdiction.
Exactly, so. It's going to be a fair shake.
So then would the council be open to have someone there to speak on the other side of the equation?
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed. I just would like to make sure that when we're planning it, that it's not super presentation heavy, so that it's not, nobody talked out for an hour, right? So.
So I agree, maybe we should limit these
Presenters
presentations
to
to a
sure.
certain time, so it's not.
15 minutes.
Well, I think the whole meeting has to have, parameters, right?
Yeah.
That, we're not gonna have this go till, well, in the morning, you have a start time and an end time. And you put the presentations in there and leave time for Q&A.
But I'm definitely not opposed to having both sides speak. I
Yep.
think it's great. Healthy debate is good.
Check, if I may. So during that same week that we are planning to have this open house, both IAC and the CNSC is also in Peace River, and I reached out to them to see if they willing to come onto the agenda, and that would definitely add to Councillor Reeve's side of having the, you said the provincial,
Yes, I agree.
because that would definitely include the federal side of it, because they are the provincial sort of regulators as well as. At the moment, I don't think we probably can get anybody from the government of Alberta, because there's no framework in place yet for nuclear. So
So, I mean, we can reach out to our MLA if he's, I know he's got a new portfolio, so I think his time is scheduled for him. But if that date is open, I see no reason why he wouldn't attend as an information gathering. Like you said, there's no framework now for this, so they may not have any concrete answers. And I mean, it's totally ironic or coincidental that IAC and CNSC happen to be in town the same week that we're planning this, so that works out really good, I think. And so I guess what we have to do now is set some dates firstly. And then we can build an agenda. Once we have that established. So we
So
kind
if I may, before we actually set that agenda items, I just want us to have maybe like a brief separate discussion about how do we actually let the residents know about this? Because I've had numerous complaints about the communication that we not doing. And we as an administration feel we are doing because we are following what we have available to us. So we normally use Daniel newspaper, we use our Facebook page, and we use our website. If there's any other additional items that council can guide me that we can actually use to engage and actually let people know about this, not just this, but everything else, because I mean, we had very poor attendance with the 30th anniversary, the same with Charles's on Friday.
Oh, we had over a dozen.
Of 3,600 residents. So we definitely need to communicate with our ratepayers in a different way, because the three options that we have is not working.
so it's time consuming and the cost comes with it, but you can put mail outs in everybody's mailbox.
Canada's post strike.
That's.
With regards,
Well, I saw,
with regards to this, the hall, they have a signboard there. So there will drive by there. I mean, that's one option for this particular thing, and not for our own.
I mean, all you can do is try it, or you do all the avenues we always use, right? And I'm sure word will get around.
So maybe us as councillors should be reaching out to our own ward and letting them know. So,
You're always welcome to do that.
no, but I'm just saying, maybe that's. Maybe like for the 30th, I should have. Sent an, text out to all our members, everybody.
I know it's something that we've been looking at. Josh and I had a discussion about it, is maybe updating contact cell phone numbers on our systems, and maybe we can try group text.
I'm wondering
Well,
about
see,
the
I'm running
texting
out of
thing,
options here.
because I've seen, like, we get notifications all the time about appointments, about, other kinds of meetings. Is there something like that? But then that's the thing, you gotta get all the numbers.
So
So
that's,
that's gonna be an issue.
Garrett and I kind of had a bit of a conversation on this. Through our GIS system, we can send out a text to an area. So I could select Dixonville and say, hey, just so you know, utility bills were incorrect, blah, blah, blah,
Oh,
just to pick on John. But problem, once again, is that the contact information isn't all there. So you, out of 20 people, you may only have 4 numbers. So it's something for us to work on, right? And it's not hard to add a number into the system. I mean, we did it as a test with myself on my property. Had the taxation clerk put in my number. Once GIS updated, my number was there, tested it out. It is something that we could use that way, and it seemed to work fairly well.
So could we maybe just have like Trin or somebody, I don't know who would be responsible for doing it, just do like a quick like Survey Monkey, how would you best like to be contacted or whatever, throw it up on our social media and Facebook and just see if we can get some responses for how they want to?
Not to be funny, but we were using the same.
No, I know, but then we can tell our people that, look, we're trying to find a new method and we're trying to fix the problem.
And also at our open houses, when we do get people there, have a sign-in sheet and ask them to put their numbers in so we can, I mean, just say that's what we're using them for. We're not, going to be, I don't.
Spamming.
And believe it or not, there's still some people that don't have. cell phones.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. But there is the option with this GIS thing for it to go through as a voice call. So it'll be an automated. Yeah, so if it is a landline number,
I think we.
I assume it will come through as a phone call.
We already have that capability. Or pursue it. do an info blast about, you make sure that your information is, I mean, it's administration nightmare right now, so you guys are dealing with taxes, you don't want people calling.
I believe.
Okay,
Anyways.
we're spinning our wheels.
Yeah.
We'll leave it to administration to figure out the best way to communicate this.
Harry, just for a second, just so you know that I did do a text message to all the people in Cape River Park and June and a few others that are landowners. And all I did is I asked them about that Sunday, Monday
Yeah.
landfill.
Yeah.
And I also said, and please pass this on to whoever I do not have for contacts. And you wouldn't believe how many I got back. Now I've got a whole pile that I didn't even know that. We're in Cape River Cartridge. So
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, as a council, we have to take some responsibility too, not just, you know, to get the word out, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good for you to do that and. we're all welcome to do
I'm not
that.
gonna drive around Cape
Well,
River Cartridge and try to,
I mean, honestly, there's
everybody.
people in my ward that
Yeah.
I'm not even aware of, right?
me
That-
too,
yeah,
that's
so-
what I found out, so.
So to reach out to all of them would be impossible, but, so we'll leave it to administration to, I mean, we can use our normal avenues, website, social media, newspaper. Those are all, I think, fine, right? If we can add to it reasonably, then we'll add to it.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, we propose that week of June 23rd, so we have a council meeting on the 24th, so that's out. The 23rd, since those regulators are gonna be in the region anyway, would be probably not an idea to start with.
That's for the waivable one.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
And so I guess number one, you have to make sure the hall is available. I don't know how busy it is, but and if the hall's not available, then we find an alternate location, whether we go to Peace River and rent a hotel meeting room or down to basketball or whatever, but I would start with the hall.
I think Warrensville done the renovations now too, so what was it on?
So Warrensville could be another option, and I don't know what we're gonna require for AV.
They have Starlink there, they have Starlink there, Warrensville.
Yeah, but as far as, you know, a PA system and a monitor and stuff like that, if we have to bring in our own or, we'll check, we'll start with what Warrensville and then maybe Weberville would be a.
Start with Weberville and
Yep. Sure. Okay, and then 24th we skip, maybe that's the day Peace River wants to do theirs if they're on board.
They haven't set any specific dates.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that if they're aware that we're planning this week and then that leaves the 25th, 26th, 27th for a meeting in the north. And I think we want to keep them condensed as we can to utilize anybody that might be traveling to help out. So where would we have a northern meeting in Manning? It all makes sense, right? I mean,
Pretty
there's,
central.
right?
Manning's pretty central.
Yeah. I mean, we have a hall in Denver, we have a hall in Hotchkiss, but, and they're not central, like you say, so,
I know that the IAC and CNSC is sort of given a schedule and they're opening for Wednesday night for the evening general information session, is what they say. They have a TISG workshop that's for all day on Thursday and Friday morning. So I don't know if we can do that Thursday evening maybe,
yeah,
or the main one.
so they're scheduled already for the 25th evening. Yeah, well, I would say that would have to be the Thursday.
I just have to confirm if they will be able to make it.
Mhm. And I don't know what kind of a venue we would need in Manning. I mean, the Egg Hall is a nice facility, pretty expensive, I think.
Well, the Legion,
Pardon me?
what about the Legion?
Yeah, I'm asking
Yeah.
about. I'm just
No,
asking.
just, that's why I said, what about the Legion?
Yeah, well, the Legion is a nice little hall. Okay, well,
So we're
maybe-
thinking 23rd for the South 26th.
That's
for Manning?
That's what we're proposing.
Proposing. That's a pretty wild week for me, so will we have confirmation of that pretty soon?
And Pearl, we're not going to arrange for Dr. Alexander to be a moderator, it's just going to be a presenter.
Okay.
So just take that. And then we'll also reach out to the people that contacted or you with IAC and CNSC, just let them know that we, we would like to have their attendance.
And, we'll also look for another presenter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll look into that.
You'll find the other presenters.
Okay. Okay, and then we'll have our administration stay in touch with the other municipalities in the region and just let them know what we're doing. And we can, if there's an interest, then they can kind of piggyback on some of these groups that are listed there. And I'm assuming, I mean, June 23rd, the sun never sets, it's just daylight all day long, but we would want to probably start like 7:30 and go till 9. Yeah, because people have to travel, right? But I mean, what's not, we don't necessarily have to put that in the motion. We can draft an agenda and then have it approved at our next meeting. What are we missing? I guess, any of these presenters that need financial assistance, or whatever, will have the Peace Region Energy Committee help fund it out of the grant. So that would be Neil Alexander and possibly Brent's, whatever group he has. IAC and CNSC, I think they cover their own costs. Perfect. Okay. Everybody okay with that motion? Somebody, do you want to make that motion? Councillor Yasinski? Any last discussion? All in favor? Carried.
What about Manning, age?
We said the 26th or whatever that Thursday is.
Okay, fine. All right, thank you.
Okay, next item is an addition, primary care, virtual conversation invitation. That was split the ministry up now. And Alberta Health into two. Kind of parts of it now, there's primary care. So I guess this is just I don't know if I have to register for this one, I'm assuming you would. Yeah. Click here to register. So I guess if anybody is interested, I mean, that's also our council date, right? So, or no, it's not. That's the date of the meeting we just set here in the town hall. So it would be able to fit it in, so. I think we just accept this information. If anybody's interested, can just register themselves, right? The link is there. I think that they're looking for feedback on this, so you can tell them what they've done and what they're going to do. I don't know if you actually anybody for we'll just acknowledge receipt of the invitation, accept for information. They want to make that motion. Councillor Theus, all in favor? Period.
Make the motion.
Yuri, Councillor Theus. The next edition was item G, cabinet shuffle edition. So our MLA, got shuffled from mental health and addictions to municipal affairs. So I personally feel that's great for the north. It's a fairly strong portfolio, and we always has confidence in him to give him that position, so. I give him a call, congratulate him, but I think there'll be a letter of congratulations from council would be in order.
Yes.
He shaved his mustache for the new
Yes,
position. I
yeah.
was teasing him on last Thursday. He come to the meeting in Peace River, so. He said, oh, new position, new face look. He said he had to save his marriage. So.
Yeah, well, actually, Lori already did, so. So Councillor Declan and Roger sheeted the cabinet shuffle report, and we'll send a letter of congratulations. And we're in the way. All in favor? Carried. Item H is another edition, World Debt Folk invitation. This, I don't know, Trinity, did you have anything to say on this? Or she's still aware? I don't see her there anymore. She was on there before.
She's on virtually, she's probably all the information is there, though they're just looking for somebody.
Yeah, I just didn't know if she had anything additional to add, but somebody reached out to her and she brought it to the council. I mean, it is a pretty big deal for the region. These guys come from all across Canada and even some international ones to participate in this, so. What is that, June the 20th?
That's good. Yes.
Pardon
June 20.
me? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would go with this. Pardon me? Yeah. Yeah, we'll send somebody. Put it that way, but I'll-
Not sure.
They'll likely need to know ahead of time just who
They
is
go
going,
there.
so they can
Okay, I'll go
announce you appropriately.
June the 20th at 6:30. Meet at 6 o'clock. I mean, if, I guess I'm being presumptuous, does council think this is a worthy to send somebody? Yeah,
Like we donated some money, and it's a big deal. That's so a huge attraction for our area.
really showcases the region and. So, Jeff,
Said we can go.
please, and be one of the. Okay, that's how this moves to now receive the invitation, and I'll send myself, I can give greetings at behalf of the council. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we go to 6.1.2, CEO report. Here,
Thank you, Chair. So I am back. More back than I was on the 13th. So just some feedback on the Peace Regional Nuclear Project. So we worked on the agenda items as we presented earlier. There was a delegation request. We dealt with that one already. Maybe just on the 30th anniversary, I sort of covered that already with the low attendance. And I'm really concerned that we're putting a lot of resources into stuff, and I don't know, for some reason, we're not reaching everybody to get them at these functions, so. But we'll work on that. Maybe we're gonna plan out the texting, and if there's any other ideas, please reach out. I am open to suggestions on that one.
I think it was just a bad time too, because of farming going on and stuff too. You know,
it is a very busy time, farming and
yeah,
minor
yeah.
ball and soccer and gardening, and people they look at the list of things to do, and the 30th anniversary just was pretty low down there, I think, in importance, so.
They didn't miss out on good cake though.
Yeah, they did.
It was good.
And then the next one is the Ordnance Standing Committee with council agreeing that we have that meeting. I was hoping that we could schedule that one for after the second council meeting in every month. If there's no urgent ones, we can maybe cancel that in advance, but if they, for now, I'd like us to see if we can do it after the second council meeting and maybe tackle like 1 or 2 or 3 of the older, whether it's a bylaw or a policy that we could address those. And that is it for my report. Oh, sorry, I got an email back from, not an email, but an actual letter back. It was too late to make this agenda, but from Minister Nate Dubish about my request to use cnl.ab.ca as a domain for our emails. We got clients that say they're not doing that anymore. It's only for actual provincial, not for municipal use. The ones that are ab.ca, like empty opportunity, they were grandfathered in, but they're not issuing any new ones. So I did distribute that county NL to 4, so that is an option that if you guys are happy with, we can probably go ahead and register that. It's not a lot of money, it's like $20 or something a year. So
20 a year.
20 a year.
And what would that domain be?
It's county NL.ca. It's just a whole lot shorter than trying to spell County of Northern Lights.
So I wouldn't have a problem doing that, but maybe we should just wait till after the municipal election and then we can start fresh from there. I don't know if there's any urgency to do that.
There's no urgency in it, but I will, if council is happy with it, I will spend the $30 or $20, whatever, just to reserve it, so we don't lose it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
In the meantime, we don't have to start using it at all.
So who is that? Like, is that like a private company or is it a?
Well, it depends on who actually administers that specific domain. So the .ca domain, that would be where they are sitting, but I mean, that is a central registry that you actually register with.
But it's not CA, so it is Canadian.
It is Canadian, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. I think let's hold it and then implement it in the fall. That would be the more seamless way to do it.
Okay, any other questions for CEO?
I can make the motion to accept your report for information if nobody else has anything else to add.
Okay, Councilor Chuck has made a motion to accept the CEO report. All in favor? We get to drill you later.
Yeah.
6.1.5, the finance year-to-date budget report. Josh.
Yes, so as promised, this is the first one of these reports in its full. I guess, look, you guys are seeing this here. It is still early in the year, bulk of our stuff kind of happening in the second half of the year as far as big spending. So it's laid out for you guys, total budget specific to your council, and then a capital project summary as well. And then I've just included the grants for your guys' information on the bottom of the report rather than as an attachment. Just because that's the way you have been seeing it before so far this year. So really not a lot to highlight for you. As I said, it's early, so a couple things. We do have our biggest penalty of the year is actually earliest in the year, so that's May. So you will see some penalties charged already. That's all in taxes owed from last year. Also, at the time I did this last week, the grants in lieu taxes, we actually have to process separately from the rest of our tax notices. So you'll notice those were blank at the time I did this. They have since been posted, applied, and distributed. Same due date in theory, whether or not they actually pay them on time remains to be seen. It hasn't been the case for the last 7 years. And they're still paying a portion of it anyway. We're not here for questions, I guess. And I guess on the capital side of things, it looks like we being Charles. Anything?
Well, yeah,
So a lot of those are ordered or underway, and Charles can give you an update if you'd like, but just because we haven't spent anything doesn't mean we haven't been taking action on them. The truck and the graders, for example, have been ordered. We pay one invoice when they're delivered. And 2 of the bridge projects, I believe, as well. So crushing, the 2 crushing projects, that tender closes on the 29th, so obviously it hasn't started yet. Josh alluded to the graders. We received 1 yesterday. Not sure when we're gonna get the other one, but traffic counters ordered, not received yet. Bridge 77696 completed. 72484 completed. Smith Mills tender will go soon. And the tender was awarded for Carcajou Bridge. No work has been done up there yet. Backup power supply, we're still putting a tender together for that. MRX has been ordered, not received. And aeration was completed on Friday. Last Friday. So best part of the budget be sitting and all the work's done and we haven't paid for it. Yeah. So it looks really good. Any questions on?
Well, maybe when you're, the street update later, and then I guess what I'm just curious, and maybe you can't say much, but is that, property rights tribunal, is that?
Yeah, I've got it.
That's on your next.
I've
report?
got it on my report.
Okay,
We can
right. We can
touch
touch that.
gently on it.
Okay, so no questions, you can motion to accept the year-to-date budget report. Councillor Reese, all in favor? Carried. Item B, your April bank reconciliation.
There for your approval. It's 20-page.
No questions?
I didn't have any.
No. Usually the big ones always get noticed and asked. Okay, not seeing any questions, good. Brenda? I thought we were gonna do
I think it said something. I was looking at that EFT.
Yeah, so this is a bank reconciliation, not a check register. So what you're seeing there is one payment leaving the bank that could be 80 different payments to vendors. So you guys just don't see that at the same time, right? That detail is gonna be included on your payment registers, which for that month, I believe, was on the last council meeting.
Okay. Well, Councillor Sinski already beat you to it, so all in favor? Carried. And that takes us down to item C, the director finance update.
Yeah, this time of year, these are fun to write because I did this on Thursday and it's changed drastically already. So tax and assessment notices, they were sent out on May 9th. We got them in and mailed before any Canada Post election, so that's good. Lots of phone calls about people not getting them, specifically in Grimshaw. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I
still haven't gotten them.
I don't know who to blame for that one. We can prove that we print them, they went in the mail, so. We can point fingers from there, I guess, if we want to. Regardless, people don't get them and they phone us, we can email them. Immediately, it becomes a bit of a pain in the butt when they have 30 or 80 different properties and we have to find them all again and send them to them. But it's manageable and we can do it. So if people are complaining to you that they have not got them, we've advertised in all the avenues we've already talked about, that if you haven't, please contact us.
Yeah, just a question on that. So if, like, I had to get mine emailed because I didn't get mine, but going forward, can that be an option? Like that they don't get hard mailed or they have to be hard mailed every time?
I've been having debates about this around the rules and the legality of it. As far as I understand, like we're obligated to send it to the landlord at their last known address. It's actually wording right in the MGA. There are people that state their preference is email and we do that for them, but I think we're obligated if we don't have anything else, which is the case for 90% of people.
Yeah. Just, I know
We
like
have
the you that called me to complain about them have not getting theirs, they're like, well, can't they just email them, like, take from the office, but they were wondering like, why we can't just send it paperless when everything else is paperless, and like,
Would that be?
that's an obvious question.
Would that be a void issue is why they're,
At which, sorry?
void, you know.
Well, not if it's their email address. The problem is we, the government, then need your email address. So not a huge lineup of people that have given that to us.
That is what I meant. I
Yeah.
meant that was the reason.
No, we're happy to do that for people where it's their preference.
I don't know if they were asking that when they called, but I'm like, that's totally an obvious question, not me.
Yep. No, just have them phone in and speak with us and we'll update their information.
Weird.
So do you think that this is a Canada Post issue in the south there then, or have no idea?
It seems to be a different problem every year, Terry. I have no idea.
But it seems strange that they got.
It left in the mail and never got there, so I would assume it's a Canada Post issue. Not to talk flack on any local Canada Post people, but I don't know what else to do. Right? They left, that's all I can say. They never got to where they were supposed to go.
So I don't know how it works. When they leave Manning, do they go to Grand Prairie, get resorted and then end up in?
And then come back.
Yeah.
In speaking just with our postmaster, she said as far as the strike goes, they were gonna do rotating. Right, so it's, the mail will just get slower. Slower than it is,
Perfect, yeah.
but it will still move.
But again, this was all done at the beginning of May before this was even an issue, so it shouldn't have been an issue, so I'm not sure.
And it must just be Grimshaw, because when they phoned, I'm like, where's your post office, Grimshaw? Okay, well, and like I said, I'm still waiting, so I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. They can phone in and figure it out.
Absolutely, and please tell people to phone us and we'll figure it out for them.
Did you get yours, Gary?
Yeah.
So it didn't affect,
You know,
Conservative.
conservative? Yeah, you're conservative.
And I had no one's ever told me either, so.
Yeah, it's weird. It seems to be local, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
People might not jump on the phone and tell you they haven't got there. It'll be July 1st when they get penalized. So that being said, we did discover a few issues with some penalties. Looks to be kind of mitigated to about 15 properties, so a very, very small sample size. No rhyme or reason to why it happened. There was some that got penalized that shouldn't have. So again, please encourage your residents, if people phone you, look at it. If something is wrong, phone us. We're not trying to be sneaky. We will fix it. And we are fixing it. So it looks to be only a few, but we are fixing them. We live in a computer age where problems happen and we deal with it and we fix it. As of yesterday, we found about 8 more properties. The owner just disappeared, so it didn't print a tax notice. So again, nothing we did, but issues happen. And we're dealing with about 8,000 separate tax accounts. So when we're dealing with 8 of them, that's again very, very small. The day I wrote this, we had done 11 inquiries. So that's us on behalf of a landowner writing a submission to the tax assessor to revisit the assessed value. That's probably doubled in the last 3 days. All of them related to residential properties in some respect. No real common themes other than the value is higher than they believe it should be. And that's pretty common. We usually do about 100 of those a year. So just jumping on the gun early. Any more questions on taxes? Okay, another fun one. I had a phone call from a grant administrator with Municipal Affairs in relation to the CCBF, which I believe stands for the Canada Community Building Fund. This is a grant that we have, so it's a federal provincial cost sharing thing that the province administers on behalf of the federal government. Our allocation is about $230,000 a year. This is the one that you have all heard me talk about. It's a pain in the butt, and we actually have no projects that are eligible for this. So we got a phone call saying that they're going to start enforcing expiration of unused allocations, so they would encourage us to utilize it. And I made that comment and she didn't believe me, so we walked through our next 5-year capital budget. Now she believes me. However, she did dig into a little more detail and come up with, we could do some applications and utilize it to offset our portion of the STIP bridge program. As long as it's a replacement or substantial repair and not just maintenance related. So Charles and I have had a chat about that where we haven't got the applications done yet. We will utilize that. Doesn't have significant changes to your budget. Typically, we've already taxed for our portion of that, or we've budgeted to use reserve funds that we've got in the bridge reserve. So what we'll do is we'll just replace this grant for that and keep that money stashed away for future use for other bridge projects. But yeah, it was kind of an eye opener for her, and she did say that she was going to take that back to the program administrators higher up than her and just kind of voice those concerns. But basically, any maintenance related work or inventory like gravel crushing and any equipment purchases, ineligible. So if you recall your budget, let's
And have
That's
we
our
pretty
been,
much your entire budget.
That's our entire budget.
have we been using it for some of those things that were not eligible?
No, so we've got like 6 years of unused allocations for this. Because what I haven't heard from you at all in strategic planning is dream up a project just so we can spend this. So we
But I
just
mean,
been
if you
trying
use
to,
it to top up the STIP, that should take care of a lot of it.
well, that'll take care of a good chunk of it this year, yeah.
Especially with the Blue Bridge, that
Yes.
Yeah,
could be potential, could potentially happen.
yeah. So as long as that goes through and she wasn't lying to me, then we'll be good. And I'm sure she understands, so. Shouldn't be any surprises there. This appeal hearing, so Terry, you asked already, this is exciting. Like, they've got 9 days scheduled. Today would be day 5 or 6. It's scheduled to end Friday. This is like a court case. Dan can use his sensitivity, except it's not professional court people, and it is painful to watch. So probably we've got 4 hours collective of technical difficulties. And then we had it, the entire first day was just a rundown of location and its operations. And then it basically functions as we present a witness, this is our stance, and then they cross-question them. And at the end of the day, I can summarize this whole thing of one side thinks that the economy is bad and it's impacting the whole industry, and the other side goes, that doesn't matter, this is assessment purposes. And so that's the whole argument summed up. I'm listening when I can, but it's also not a great time in the office, so I've missed probably 2 days collectively of listening in. They let me just pop in a note as needed. They do have some sensitive financial information and legal information that they've shared in an in-camera fashion, so I was not privy to that. Just so you're aware.
So,
Don't ask me how I think it's gonna go. I have not a clue. They've got a 3-person panel and one of them is writing a recommendation. They didn't even say when. So it only took 4 years for them to have this hearing. So I would suspect any time between next week and 4 more years from now, you should know. And this is solely to deal with 2022's appeal. They still have 3 more years of appeals. And it's all related, if you remember, to an additional depreciation factor that from 2010 until 2022 was being applied to this facility and other facilities such as this in the entire province.
so who represents us at the tribunal hearing? Like, is it the?
Nobody, me. We are an observer. We are impartial.
But I mean, it was a provincial assessment, right?
Yeah,
the
so
province-
the provincial assessor's office is there.
Right.
So the head of that is there. He's currently the one being questioned. He's probably done now. And their legal team is, well, it's a legal firm that represents them as well.
So that.
And then the other side has had market value appraisers, a tax agency, and another valuator that have basically run through the whole industry history and forecast and also.
And this is gonna be a binding decision?
Yep, yeah, this is the be all end all.
That was my question. Like, at the end of the 9 days, there's supposed to be a decision?
I don't know when, but yeah, they have that much time to hear everything and then I would assume typically they give them like 6 weeks to write a decision. It's a lot of information. I've tried to just keep notes of what happened, what day and what I've watched and what I've missed, just so you guys know, but it's a lot of stuff, but like I said, quite simply, what they're trying to do is argue about how bad everything is and then argue about why that's irrelevant in the legislation that dictates how they do property assessment. It's exciting. The Canada Post strike I just had on here, we've already talked about it, but I mean, this will impact us, whether it slows us down, whether we lose things, or whether we lose the ability to send things out altogether. It's full stop. Just be mindful of that. Good opportunity for people who want to receive things via email to reach out to indicate that. Other than that, we continue doing things the way we have done them.
Thanks, Josh. Any
Josh, that,
questions?
is that utility bills as well, like utility bills and tax bill?
So, yeah, we send out utility bills, truck fill bills, AR invoices, everything regularly.
Yeah.
Planning and development stuff, as you probably well know, Gloria, there needs to be physical paper and physical ink signatures. So Canada Post is awesome there because it costs nothing. The last year later I had a quote for to send a package to the surveyor was $54 to go from here to Claremont.
And so for that package.
Yeah,
One
and
envelope.
it's one envelope of 7 pages and our fees are $200 for that subdivision.
Yeah.
So burn it all on postage and hope it doesn't come back and you have to send it again. So it's all over, and also surprised how many people still mail us checks to pay their taxes. So that will be an issue. We will continue to honor post-dated envelopes, but that will continue to be a problem as it always has been. It'll be Gerhardt's problem because I'll be fishing.
What fishes?
Welcome.
Yeah, well, it's what the future of Canada Post is, but rural communities definitely depend on it, as you explained, so. Thanks. Okay, any other questions for Director of Finance update? Not to get a motion to accept for information. Councillor Lobisky, all in favor? Carried. So we are approaching 11 o'clock. I'm gonna recess this meeting and we'll. What do we have on for ISL?
2 of them just joined, so I believe you've got Gail and David Shore. David is on here for the addition that's come to you guys, which may be a fairly lengthy discussion. So just depending on how long it takes to get through everything else, you may want to revisit your delegation.
Got the big guns today.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll call our Municipal Planning Commission meeting to order at 11 a.m. The agenda, you have one addition that Josh just referred to. Any other additions? See none, I'll ask the motion to approve the agenda addition. Councillor Declan, all in favor? Minutes from the previous meeting, which was last meeting, May 13th. Any discussion out of those? No, I'll call for motion to accept the minutes as presented. I will, Councillor Feast, all in favor, it's carried. Item 4, planning and development. There's one development permit was. We have to discuss that one.
No, we just need
That's for the. That's already been approved. So just need a motion to acknowledge receipt of the development permit DP 2515 and is issued by the development officer, accept information.
I'll move, Terry.
Councillor Chug, all in favor? Carried. And we move down to miscellaneous. Item C, discussion, this is an addition discussion regarding the municipal reserve. So Gail or David, who would like to speak on this?
So actually, we prepared this. I've spoken with David about it.
Okay.
So happy to kickstart it off for you guys. I hope you all had a chance to read it and that you don't want me to just read 3 pages of legislation to you.
No.
Because I told David, we actually had a bet on how quickly one of you would fall asleep if that's what he wanted, but what this is a basically open-ended question on municipal reserve when it's applicable, or funds in place of municipal reserve and what council's desired outcome is. When we wrote this, it was originally related to an example, but we had some of our facts wrong. So David and I had a discussion on Friday and we've agreed that this conversation we'd like to keep just as general and general application. So in general, when we subdivide a parcel more than just a single parcel out, barring a bunch of other factors, there is a potential that we can require municipal reserve land or funds in place of municipal reserve land. All of this legislation that is in front of you on the paper is the legislation that dictates that. Specifically, it's in your municipal development plan and then cross-referenced and higher ranking in the Municipal Government Act. There's some discretion on how much you can take, whether or not you want to take it, as well as how to obtain a value if you're going to take money. The general rule of thumb, though, is that an applicant would be responsible for obtaining a market value appraisal and providing that to you within a specified time. I'm not sure that's how things have been done historically. We've typically operated with assessed values for that. So council is aware that may be an issue if we're subdividing anything that's assessed for tax purposes as agricultural land, because that is nowhere remotely close to resembling the market value of that. However, shifting to kind of the other side and enforcing that puts another onus on an applicant of a subdivision to provide yet another thing at another expense. So we've kind of got a bunch of questions coming at you guys all at once in relation to that and what you want to look like, including ultimately our application fee in general for this, right? Other than that, though, kind of the general questions we have are, as a council, do you see any reason anywhere in this municipality that you would prefer to have municipal reserve land instead of just funds in place of it? And I don't know, David, if you're able to chime in and just add, like, kind of in general, what you see this land used for? You're listening?
I think it depends on.
I'm certainly available. Good morning, council and administration. My camera is not clicking on for some reason. However, it's good to see you. Josh, great report. Nice intro to this topic. Municipal reserve is always interesting when we're dealing with a subdivision in a rural area. Municipal reserve is we've typically just for past practices, we've typically collected it on very few applications because there are very few applications that trigger the requirement to provide municipal reserve. But when it is required, it's usually provided as cash in lieu and not land. And those funds go into the county's savings and are typically used for park purposes. And when land is taken, it can be used for a park or it can be used as a buffer between incompatible uses, like a commercial use and a residential use. But there's been very few cases over the last 17 years where we've actually taken municipal reserve, and even fewer where land has been taken. In fact, I don't think we've taken it ever. If that history gives you some context to the question Josh asked about, is there ever an occasion where council would like to take land? I hope that provides some. Your municipal development plan and your MGA also provide some guidance, but there are cases where council and MPC may want to do something different than they've currently done.
Yeah, and just some context, I guess, to add to that. So, as David alluded to, not a common thing. Randomly, twice in the last week, this come up, right? So this is kind of how things get brought to you guys now in this fashion. And so I love that. It's just kind of we have a bunch of options. We can bring this to you at your discretion to decide on a case-by-case basis. We can kind of make the decision and go forward. But thinking ahead, like you guys are, your earlier agenda item is a town hall about this nuclear proposal. If that sparked a bunch of future dense residential subdivisions, that may change your mind. So it's kind of a good time to question some of these practices or look at what we do, because it may very well come up more frequently in the future, depending on how things go. So any questions, I guess, and otherwise we can.
Not a question, maybe just a comment. So maybe if we only received 2 in the last, I don't know how many years, maybe it's fine if we leave it for council's decision. Also, I mean, in the case like you just mentioned, it could be something else, or there could be another development in the Bees region area or whatever it is. So it's not a frequent flyer.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, we might have miscommunicated that, so. Council has the discretion to do one or the other. Historically, though, we've taken money in place of, if you guys are happy with continuing that way, we can. Bringing it back to council for each decision would add time to each application where it be applicable. Not all of them, but you would have to be mindful that that is going to add some time to a subdivision application potentially.
And
David's smiling, so I must have said that correctly.
Glory here, the way I
And
read
Lori,
is
yeah.
that if it's a multi-parcel subdivision, we don't have any choice but to take one of those lots as land. Is that right, David?
Well, you have the option to take land or.
Well, I thought that by the way I read this, that we must take it if there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 lots need, but maybe I'm wrong.
You able to address that, David? Gloria said she understood if it was a densely populated, like multiple lots, we would be obligated to take land.
Yes.
I think so.
Great question. Nice to hear from Gloria, and thanks for the lead in, Josh. Again, the municipal development plan provides policies describing when it's required, and the MDP policy 843, which I was scrambling to pull up, requires cash in lieu in all cases, except, as Gloria mentioned, the creation of a multi-parcel country residential development where it may be taken in parcel form. So maybe is the key word, and that's the case with a lot of policies. It gives discretion to council or the subdivision authority to make a decision about how it wants to be provided given the situation. So there may be some cases where the subdivision authority wants to take cash rather than the money, or sorry, rather than the land, because it simply doesn't make sense to have a park somewhere where the county can't maintain it. However, if there's a strategic location where you do want to park in that multi-parcel country residential subdivision, and you're willing to maintain it, then it makes sense to have it. So it's on a case-by-case basis, and your MDP allows you to make those decisions. But I think it's worth a conversation given the 2 subdivisions that have come forward recently. It is an anomaly, I totally agree. But because we're seeing more subdivisions and potential municipal reserve, it's a good conversation to have.
And it was a good opportunity for me to learn, and Pearl will learn as well. Yeah, she wasn't here when I wrote this one, but a lot of information there for you guys, right? In a refresher.
Well, I just think we wanna lock ourselves into something that doesn't give us any discretion in the future, right? So, I mean, yeah, it takes more time and more paperwork, but that's what we're here for, right? Is to, and if we're being inundated with 6 of these a week or something, then it might be unreasonable. We might want to have a policy where we take land or take money, pardon me, and not land. But I think we want to leave ourselves some flexibility.
Yeah, and you will, like on most of your subdivisions where this is applicable, you will, except in those instances, like David said. So it's just weird that multi-parcel are becoming a little bit more popular, and very well could continue to be more popular. So that is kind of the wording of your municipal development plan right now. So you would have that discretion when you would be brought that question, I guess, if there's a three or more lot proposed subdivision, that would come to you guys first, I guess, before it can proceed. If I'm understanding correctly.
So leave it as is.
Yeah, that will be as is, it's just confirmed, so we've confirmed like at your discretion, right, not delegated down to Gerhard and I as the development officers. And I mean specifically on those multi-parcel residential subdivisions. Or I guess, David, really on the incompatible land uses, we would probably want council's input anyway. I think more so the residential one though. Yeah, yes.
He's muted or he didn't hear you?
No, he gave you a thumbs up. Yeah. Is that clear to you, David?
Yes, definitely a clear response, Josh. And my thumbs up was to that, and more positively, I agree.
So we don't need a, well, I guess, I see that there's a motion, a draft motion there to acknowledge receipt of the discussion and.
Yeah, well, and nothing required, I don't think
No
there
changes
is,
required.
yeah. What you directed kind of is in line with how the legislation is written right now, so that's all good. We'll revisit that in the future if it becomes an issue.
Do you have to have it in there? That, no.
Just
No.
scrape the hand, I would say.
Okay. Who wants to make that motion? Councillor Deccan. All in favor? Carried. That is it. So I will adjourn our MPC meeting at 11:14. And we have Gail and David online yet. We can skip ahead to second page of the agenda, 6.1. The development. We have 3 subdivisions. So item A is subdivision application 25 NL04 farmstead separation. And who would like to speak on this?
I will be speaking on it. Thank you. Good morning. The applicant owner proposes to subdivide a 10.1 hectare or 25.0 acre parcel from the northwest of 108521 west of the 5th for a residential parcel. The proposed parcel is more than 4 acres or 4 hectares or 10 acres maximum. The county's land use bylaw allows, sorry, my computer is glitching on and off, for in the Agriculture General A District. The additional parcel size is required to accommodate the physical characteristics of the site, such as an existing driveway, dugout, farm buildings, open discharge system, services, shelter belt, and woodlot. Excuse me. The Municipal Government Act, the county's municipal development plan, and the LUB grants discretion to the Development Authority to approve larger parcel sizes to accommodate related farm buildings and improvements. Based on site characteristics, it is reasonable to consider the applicant's request for a 10.1 hectare or 25 acre parcel. The proposed parcel is 14 kilometers northeast of Peace River town limits, 7.5 kilometers north of Weberville, and 900 meters north of the Peace River. Highway 986 runs in a diagonal direction at the southeast corner of the quarter. The quarter section and land within the proposed parcel are designated Agriculture General A District. The proposed parcel is located on the east boundary of the quarter. The farmstead contains a dwelling, accessory buildings, and a dugout located 16.4 meters west of the proposed parcel boundary. Pockets of marsh and open water areas are located around the dugout. A panhandle to the north of the dwelling allows the existing shelter belt and driveway to be included in the proposed parcel boundaries. A woodlot is located south of the dwelling, extending to the south quarter boundary. The balance of the quarter section is under agriculture production, with the southern portion containing trees and wetlands. There are no well sites, record of spills, or contamination within the quarter section. There is a low-pressure gas line owned by North Peace Co-op located within the quarter section paralleling Township Road 852, then running south near the east quarter line, ending north of the building site. An ATCO transmission line with a feed connecting to the proposed parcel is located on the north side of Township Road 852. The quarter section and proposed parcel are within a historical resource value, classified land designation, which has a high potential to contain an historic resource. The parcel is not located within the Grimshaw Gravels Aquifer. The 3 quarters directly to the west, northwest, and north are zoned A district, while the 3 quarters to the northeast, directly east, and to the southeast are zoned Highway Industrial M2 district. The 2 quarter sections located directly south and to the southwest are zoned Crown Land CL district. The proposed parcel is compatible with existing land uses in the surrounding area and is not considered to have a negative impact on adjacent lands. The proposed parcel is accessed by Township Road 852, which is designated as a residential roadway. With the proposed parcel, there is currently no existing physical access to the balance of the quarter section. In accordance with Policy 9.2.3 of the Municipal Development Plan, all subdivision and development proposals have to have access to developed roads. The applicant owns and farms the lands on the adjacent quarter section to the west. Rather than construct a new approach to the balance of the lands, the applicant would prefer to enter into a cross-access agreement and continue using the existing approach located on the northeast of 9/85/21 west of the 5th to gain access to the farmlands on both the northeast 9 and the northwest of 10/85/21 west of the 5th. In accordance with Section 662 of the Municipal Government Act and Policy 9.2.4b of the Municipal Development Plan, a 5.0-meter road right-of-way by caveat along the north boundary of the proposed parcel and the balance of the quarter section adjacent to the government road allowance for Township Road 852 will be required. There is no water well or county water line servicing the proposed parcel. The applicant has advised that potable water is available from an existing dugout located on the proposed parcel. The proposed parcel is serviced by an existing septic tank and open discharge system. To meet the Alberta Private Sewage Standard Systems 2021 setback requirements, the applicant will be required to relocate the existing open discharge system to the treed area south of the residence. Policy 4.2.7 of the Municipal Development Plan allows for the subdivision of land to accommodate a farmstead separation. The proposed subdivision meets the intent of the Municipal Development Plan. The proposed parcel size exceeds the 4-hectare or 10-acre parcel size allowed by the A district in the county's land use bylaw. However, the proposed 10.1 acre or hectare or 25-acre parcel is a reasonable size and is not under agriculture protection and is required to accommodate an existing driveway, dugout, farm buildings, services, shelter belt, and woodlot. Alberta Municipal Affairs, Alberta Energy Regulator, ATCO Electric, Pembina Pipelines, and TELUS all responded indicating they had no concerns with the proposed subdivision. Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors has responded advising that no direct access will be considered as a result of the proposed subdivision. Access to the proposed parcel and the balance shall be via Township Road 852. Alberta Transportation also advised that any proposed development on the subject lands will require the benefit of a roadside development permit. No other comments were received from referral agencies or adjacent landowners. It is recommended that the subdivision application to create a 10.1 hectare or 25-acre parcel from the northwest of 10/85/21 west of the 5th be approved, subject to the conditions outlined.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Any questions from council?
I'll move approval if there's no questions.
Okay, Councillor Reese moves approval with 8 recommendations as listed. Any final comments? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. Just hang on a second, Gail. Okay. Item C, subdivision application 24 NL 19 for a cemetery.
Okay, I will be speaking to that one also. Thank you. The applicant proposes to subdivide a 0.8 hectare or 2-acre parcel from an existing 4.05 hectare, 10.01 acre parcel registered as Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 1923451, located on the southwest of 1989-22 west of the 5th. The proposed parcel will be the second parcel out of the quarter section. The proposed parcel is intended to be used for a cemetery. No internal roadways will be located within the proposed parcel, and there are currently no buildings on the parcel. The applicant has advised that a storage shed will be located in the northwest corner of the proposed parcel. The subject lands are located east of Range Road 230, 800 meters south of Highway 690, and 2.4 kilometers southwest of Deadwood. All lands contained within the quarter section are designated A district. The existing 4.05 hectare parcel is located in the northeast corner of the quarter section and contains a church, a portable school, parking lot, playground area, and improvements, including an existing open discharge disposal system and outdoor earthen privy. The parcel being proposed for the cemetery will be located in the southeast corner of the existing parcel. Lands on the existing parcel not covered by the church, portable school, and improvements have been hayed. Lands on the balance of the quarter section are in agriculture production. Rosenau Creek is located in the southeast corner of the quarter section. There are no well sites and no records of spills or contamination within the quarter section. There is, however, an abandoned well site located approximately 150 meters from the proposed parcel in the right-of-way along Range Road 230 south of the existing parcel. This well has been classified as being REC exempt, which means that the well was abandoned prior to reclamation legislation being enacted. There is no record of any spills within the proposed area. There is a low-pressure gas line owned by North Peace Co-op within the quarter section, and an ATCO overhead power line runs in the north-south direction parallel to Range Road 230. The quarter section and proposed parcel are not within any historical resource or within the Grimshaw aquifers. All lands adjacent to the quarter section are designated A district and are in agriculture production. A residence is located near the south boundary of the quarter. A residential parcel is located on the opposite side of Range Road 230 near the southern boundary of the existing parcel. Another residential parcel is located adjacent to the northeast corner of the quarter section. The proposed subdivision is not considered to have a negative impact on adjacent lands. Both the existing parcel and the balance of the lands have legal and physical access from Range Road 230. No new access from Range Road 230 is being proposed. The proposed cemetery parcel will use the access located on the existing parcel, and an internal roadway will allow for vehicle access to the proposed cemetery parcel. Parking will be located on the existing parcel, close to the cemetery boundaries. A cross-lot access agreement will be required for both the internal roadway and the parking area, and the applicant will be required to register the agreement on title to both parcels. The county's water line, which runs adjacent to Range Road 230, provides service to the church site and to the portable school. No servicing will be required for the proposed parcel. The existing church site is currently serviced by an open discharge sewage disposal system. The applicant has been in discussions with an agency approved by Alberta Safety Council safety codes and is aware that changes will be required to meet setback requirements from the proposed subdivision boundaries in accordance with the Alberta Private Sewage System Standards 2021. A condition of previous approval, subdivision approval on Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 1923451 required the applicant to enter into a development agreement with the county and also to dedicate a 5 meters road right-of-way along the west boundary of the parcel and along the balance of the quarter section adjacent to the road allowance for Range Road 230. These agreements were registered on title in 2019 and will be required to be carried forward upon registration of the new parcel. In accordance with policy 4.2.5 of the Municipal Development Plan, where a quarter section has been subdivided for public use, public utility, or a fragmented parcel, the quarter section shall be deemed to be unsubdivided for the purpose of this policy. As the parcel is considered to be for a public use, no rezoning of the parcel will be required. The proposed lot conforms to the requirements of the Agriculture General A District in the county's land use bylaw. Alberta Consumer Affairs, or Directors of Cemeteries, has advised that in Alberta, the Cemeteries Act, RSA 2000 C3, imposes restrictions on cemetery ownership, and potential owners must apply and establish and register a new cemetery. The approval of the subdivision is just one step in applying for cemetery registration. The applicant has already reached out to the Director of Cemeteries and has also been provided with the required registration forms. Alberta Municipal Affairs has advised that the current system is not compliant and that the applicant's proposal to convert the open discharge system to a treatment mound would meet the requirements of the 2001 Alberta Private Sewage System Standard of Practice. They have also advised that an earthen privy may be used only for private use and shall not be used to serve a public or commercial facility. The applicant will be required to remove the earthen privy and replace it with either a tank privy or a portable toilet. Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors, Alberta Energy Regulator, Municipal District of Peace, Town of Peace River, Pembina Pipelines, and TELUS all indicated they had no concerns with the proposed subdivision. An adjacent landowner indicated that should the application proceed, he would like to see the speed limit lowered to 40 kilometers per hour on either side of the nearby bridge. He reasoned that the area is already experiencing heavy speed and expressed concern about not only a collision, but dust and wear and tear on the bridge. The county has advised they do not agree with a lowering of the speed limit at the bridge on this road. They have additionally advised that the school has posted 30-kilometer signs at their parcel and do not believe a speed limit change is necessary. The county has also advised they will not require a road maintenance agreement to address dust and maintenance concerns. It is recommended that the subdivision application to create a 0.8 hectare or 2.0 hectare parcel from Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 1923451, located on the southwest of 1989-22 west of the 5th, be approved, subject to the conditions outlined. And I should say that I have amended condition number 1, and I've sent a note to Teresa indicating that. It's just clarification of the need for the development permit agreement, and I'll read it into the minutes so that you're aware of the changes that are made. Is the condition 1 should read that the applicant owner enter into the development agreement with the county to include but not limited to the removal of an approach, construction of a new approach, or the upgrading of an approach. When installing approaches or culverts, the applicant owner shall contact County of Northern Lights Public Works Department to ensure that approaches are constructed in accordance with county standards. Any costs incurred will be the responsibility of the applicant owner. And this is just a rewording of this condition that we are now putting in all subdivision applications, just kind of to clarify the need for the development agreement and what it will contain.
So council, she has forwarded that to Teresa. We will just include that in the minutes next, that you'll adopt at the next meeting. Pearl did not catch all that.
She was typing as fast as she could, but she couldn't keep it.
That was quick.
I've also included an advisement in the report that the applicant owner is required to contact the county and obtain any required development permit approval prior to the location of the accessory building on the parcel.
Okay, so any comments, Charles, on the speed limit on the, is that a county bridge or is that on the secondary?
No, it is a county bridge. The bridge is 1.7 kilometers south of this development, sorry. I mean, we could do that for every single bridge in the county. The fact of the matter is, it's on a gravel road. It's an old bridge. Same with our other ones, so that's like my comment to ISL said, the speed limit's already lowered at the school, so.
Nothing.
Don't see it necessary. I mean, start doing that one, you're gonna have to do them all.
Great. Okay, thank you. Any other questions on the subdivision? If not, look for a motion to approve it with the 8 conditions. Okay, Councillor Reese. Excuse me, all in favor? It's carried. Okay, Gail, we got one more for you.
That was me, actually.
Whoa. Look at you.
Multitasking.
Agri subdivision application 21NL05 time extension agreement. April.
So we had a gentleman who previously had a subdivision approved, October 26th of 2021. He had since entered into several time extension agreements with us to meet the conditions of his approval. Most recent one lapsed October 26th, 2024, with his last time extension. He has completed all steps with the exemption of registering with land titles. He did attempt to reapply in the last month. But this would be a much more efficient way to handle this. He wouldn't have to resurvey everything. It's located at Northwest 348724 west of the 5th, which is at the intersection of Township Road 880 and Range Road 243 in Ward 3. And under the MGA section 6576B, council may grant one or more extensions of 1 year to allow for the registration. I've included a copy of the notice of decision that was issued in 2021. None of the uses of the adjacent land will change. There has been some changes in adjacent land owners on 2 of the smaller parcels, but their use did not change. At the time of circulation, when the original subdivision was approved, there was no comments received from adjacent landowners.
So any questions on that? We're looking for an extension so we can get those registered. Yeah. Councillor Howard, can use now receipt of the application and approve the time extension to October 26th of this year to allow for the registration of the subdivision land titles. Questions? All in favor? Carried. I think that's it for ISL.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, council. Have a great day.
Thanks, David. Gil. Okay, we got a delegation scheduled for 11:30. Kevin Richmond, I don't see Kevin here. He's not available today.
Not available.
Yeah. So who's gonna represent the delegation? Al, you?
Yeah,
or
sure, I'll.
Willie or?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, well, come on up here.
Right now.
Morning. Good morning. Also, I don't know if you know all council, we'll just introduce ourselves. Okay. Start with Caleb.
Kaylin Chuck, I represent Marshall Lacronell area.
Jerry Case, Weber.
Ready, sir.
Read a second or start breaking one.
Well, much guess.
I've got a sticky number. See, good morning.
Morning.
Perlican, planning and development clerk.
Now this became one part of it.
Brent.
So Al, you can introduce yourself and then just, I know you're here about you had a discussion last meeting about the maintenance on the down in the flats there.
Yeah, you bet. Al Dorian, I'm a resident down at Kalina Flats and just looking for a clarification on the road down there. Who owns it or how far does the county come down? And so forth, so.
Yeah, so I don't know if Charles or Pearl or Gerhard who wants to speak to us for clarification purposes.
I mean, I can, so we maintain down currently to the bottom of the hill. There was a while. Down at the bottom of the hill. Everything past that point is owned by the developer. They're classified as private roads.
What's down there?
The county takes care of it. And it's designated as a recreational road. So
There's some permanent residents down there. Like myself, that's my home place. I don't have a house up in Hotchkiss. That's considered my home residence down there. And has it always been like that then? You said you used to, there's been work done over the years down there by the county.
Yeah, and we talked about that last meeting.
Yeah, you're looking to take a look to see where, I mean, for the last, since I've been down there, there's been no clarification what's what, depends who's who's serving at the time and what. So.
So I don't know, that was probably done before your time, Charles, but I called to go and install some culverts.
Yeah, so
Under whose authority?
there was work done down there, it wasn't supposed to have been done. Hands were slapped.
And then, I know Kenny's concern was, about putting calcium. And I don't really, we said that typically we don't calcium in subdivisions, but we agreed that we would do it one more time this year. And as far as if it needs some gravel to fill in some holes that he mentioned, I guess that would be the responsibility of the developer to provide that. The county will do the application.
Correct.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Well, it does, but yeah,
It doesn't.
it doesn't, no. There's lots of taxes being paid down there, and I realize that the developer, but the county not take that over, and Ken should be here, but he's unable to make it today, and lack of people here doesn't reflect the interest in this. With fires and stuff and scheduled maintenance on Chin Road, there's a bunch of people that couldn't be here today. But everybody's interested to hear. Did the county not take that over?
I could probably speak to what we discussed last meeting. So originally there was a specification for the road, the initial application, and the county was prepared to take over the roads if they would meet that specification, and they never have. The county's position was not run. For one thing, the roads are not wide enough, and they didn't meet the original specifications. So that's the reason the county is not taking over the maintenance of the roads, since they're not wide enough. One thing.
Okay. And then our property tax there, I realize it's not all road maintenance, but what do we get out of that? They don't mind taking the money and keep bumping them up every year. So what do we get? What's that all towards?
Maybe Charles can expand on that too, sort of what gets spent on the main road going down the hill. So
Yeah, like
exceeds the taxes, right?
Yeah, like
County
there's the county hill or the road going down into the flat. I mean, we spent I think it was just over 50 grand last year. And repairing the scours that were in that road. So there went more than what you guys paid in taxes last year.
Got to maintain that anyways, correct? It's a county road that has to be maintained anyways.
Yeah, I'm not.
Right? Am I wrong
Yeah,
by
but it's-
asking that? or?
Cause that whole hill is zoned as recreational, right? So that's a different level of standard.
Correct.
Compared to a residential.
Yeah, so
I'm just trying to figure this out, because I thought that cleaning up the flats, we were not to have any permanent residents see on there. So you're saying you're now residing there?
Yeah, it's movable. It's a cab. I can hook it up tomorrow and drag it out of there, I guess, but that's my.
No, but
my
I'm
home
just
place.
wanting, we understood it's for recreation, right? I mean.
Yeah, no, that's my permanent residence down there.
Yeah, I have no idea what how the subdivision was written, so, I mean, I don't think that's not our position to say that somebody can't live on their recreation property, right? That's the rules, so the level of service on the access, I guess, is the only thing that we do, but I mean,
well,
I think
we
maintain that road
currently we exceed the level of service on the access.
as a recreation road, right? So, yeah, so I mean, the hill, the road going down there is being maintained, so anybody living there year-round like yourself has.
So if a
access.
gate goes up at the bottom of the hill, then that's.
That's the way it currently is, I guess, that the developer takes over from there, there's a boundary there.
Yeah, that's why we turn around at the bottom of the hill and hook her back up.
So I don't know what you're looking for, I mean,
No,
like to,
just clarification, it's
Yeah.
where it was and you looked at it, I guess, well.
I mean, the way Kevin explained it, was that if they could get one grading on the road system within the subdivision here, that's all they want, they don't want to see a grader down there on a weekly
No,
basis.
just
you know, because they're narrow roads, they're small roads, and that's just gonna create more dust, and so get them. And it's all light traffic there, right? I mean, there's pickup trucks and SUVs and maybe somebody pulling a boat.
You bet. Lots of people from town, lots of people from Peace River coming down the hill. Lots of like county use, not just the residents down there, so. So if it isn't a public road, then I guess we can.
And it is, and the hill is.
The hill is, but once you get down there, then that's,
That's up to
we
the.
start turning people around, then that coming down and use the river.
So that would be on the maintenance would be up to the developer on once you get into the subdivision, right? So there's not a public boat launch there. I mean, there's a boat launch that's used by the public, but it's. And that's
They're looking to see.
putting the calcium down. I mean, that's kind of a gray area too, that we typically don't calcium in subdivisions or private resident, private property like that, so. Again, did apply for it and was approved, so that would be done again, but I guess I'll. If I'm correct, Joe?
Well, that's, it's up to council. What do we wanna do with that?
Yeah, not being paid for, we are paying for it, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, you're not interested in doing it?
Not getting rich.
You said you're not interested in putting calcium down there, even though you're getting paid to do it?
Oh. I thought we had decided to go in there.
This year it was
Yeah,
paid for,
this-
so we agreed to.
Yeah, so, but in future years, you're not interested?
Well, I guess that'll be a council decision, right? Because it's not in our policy that we, that we.
Okay.
You gotta understand there's other subdivisions in the county, right, that don't get calcium.
They don't get serviced at all, there's, subdivisions.
I mean, they can get calcium if they go to the supplier, they'll do it themselves, right?
Well, yeah, they do it themselves, yeah. But so the other subdivisions that we have not taken over their roads, so we don't grade them winter, summer, ever. In our policy, it states that dust control, for example, is not to be applied on private roads. So those subdivisions, as well as the internal roads, would fall under private roads.
Pass that on to everyone else, I guess, that's.
The other thing is that this dust or the calcium, it's not a money-making thing. It actually costs us to do that, so.
It's a subsidized service.
That's what I was getting at, if you're. Okay.
So, I guess you're looking, or Ken, or all of you are looking for clarification.
On where the county road ends and
And I guess.
for that. So
My
that's what
knowledge,
you're-
it's always been like that, right? Once the subdivision was developed, but that's.
Oh,
Over the
there's-
years, there have been
there's been a
several
few,
letters of requesting service there, and it was always replied that the roads need to be up to standard, up to county standard before we can go in. It's like some places are very old. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Pass it on, and I guess that's what we look for, clarification where, so I guess that's, unless there's something else, I would like to say, lack of people today, but that's just due to work. So
Well,
you'll have to bring it up.
if there's more questions, definitely reach out. Or else their staff can help answer them.
One more thing there, Aldo, what brought me my attention this morning. Is the guys down there were asking if the county roads ends at the corner, if we can make that a gated area for our area, then if we have to maintain that. Is there any public access coming down to the boat launch? You want that gated, that's something that brought up to me.
That's right. I
and as
mentioned that.
long as our grader can turn around,
Okay, that's what was asked this morning by a group of people down.
Yeah.
Karen,
I just have one comment. So we own property there right from the beginning. And there was an agreement, I believe I'd have to search my title to that. There was an agreement that the county would maintain the road right up to the boat launch. The main road that goes past around by Dale Cohut's, right to the boat launch. And I believe, I'll double check on that, but I believe that was the agreement with the county.
Yeah, I think we can find that. If I have no idea.
It's not on our land. file.
Well, Karen, if you could find that somehow.
I will.
Great, thanks all.
Good, thank you.
We want to keep going through this, we've got. And more items to go through, and then we got the panel sessions, which will take a little while, and break for lunch, or just very much. Hearing none. You know what you do, too. We can take a break. Okay, let's take a break and then we'll re-energize and keep going.
Never found anything.
Because we had a couple letters, I would help you to provide all of our. It was great with Ireland. Yeah, I can show you.
That's going on with Bob's.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't forget structures. Okay.
Let me just so that you know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, we can back up on the agenda to 6.3.1. Item A is the Director of Public Works report, which was an addition of this. New additions.
Yeah, it'll be in your additions, because it's been a week. Yeah, and as you can see, there's not a whole lot on here, but
There's a separate email with additions if anybody's looking for it.
Yeah.
Unless you can pop it up on the screen.
I can just.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here too. So Keg River Water Treatment Plant, as I alluded to earlier, the aeration system was completed last Friday. In the installation of it, it caused some stirring, and we ended up not being able to sell the water that we had in the clear well because it sent some manganese through the system, and then the allowable limit in the water was just over what we are legally allowed to have, so we had to shut everything down, hence the closure over the weekend. However, I'd like to say it's up and running now, everything's good. Water, in the beginning on late Sunday had a bit of a reddish tinge to it, but it was still safe. It wasn't, nothing was hazardous. That issue should be resolved now. Haven't heard any complaints, so.
Well, no, the biggest thing is why weren't we told when this was going to happen?
Well, because we didn't know what was going to happen.
I can maybe comment on that one too. I had a phone call from one of the residents up there, and why didn't we notify them? And the same thing as before, we did it on Facebook, email, Facebook website.
Who said there was no
There was no time for the paper for that one, so we used what we had, and
it shouldn't have impacted anything that we were doing.
I think what the biggest was is when you go to get your water and all of a sudden you're told, no, you can't have any, and they'd already done a loan for their other house. They said if they had known, then they would have happened, wanted to happen.
Yeah.
And is there no way we can put a sign up next time if there would be repair and maintenance?
it wasn't repair and maintenance, that was an emergency shutdown.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
irrigation one.
And that's what I meant by,
Yeah.
had everything went according to plan, we would not have had the emergency shutdown. That's, yeah, so
We were told, we didn't say anything about an emergency shutdown, that's. Was.
Yeah.
I said, well. Can I say it? Sure.
that's, yeah, that was kind of my, my comment here too, on Friday.
Now, if it was routine, there would have been lots of notice.
Oh, 100%, and yeah, if it was gonna be a routine shutdown, or if we expected to have to shut down during the installation of the system. We 100% would have lasted it as much as we could. However, it was unfortunately not the case. It was a very much last minute thing.
So just a thought, I mean, there isn't that many residents in Cape River perhaps.
I know where you're going.
Phone call.
So we did. The operator called as many of the big users as she could.
So it was good.
Yeah.
Good, so that's good.
Yeah. So there was notification that way. It was, yeah, like I said, just an emergency shutdown. Everything's good now. The aeration system itself, within 24 hours, our raw water improved significantly. Because we've been doing testing of the raw water at fairly frequent rates, so that was good. Any questions on that? Perfect.
Charles, have you gone down there yet? Like you said, you haven't been.
I have not been able to get up there. I will, we'll go. Wally Road, Range Road 215, between highways 986 and 743. We did a bunch of repairs, if council will remember, last year. With all the underground springs in that road, we are having some issues. So we evaluated the situation and we have, according to policy, have decided to permanently road ban it, 50% axle weight. We've had a few requests for people to haul heavy equipment on it, and this was before the 75% road bans came off, but of course we said no during that time, and with that interest of keeping our road in as good a condition as we can for the residents that are along there, this is our best option at this point in time. We are going to address a little bit as much as we can here next or over the construction season this year. But we don't want to dump too much money into it because a permanent fix is going to be a significant cost. That's installing French drains similar to what was done on Dando Road. It's a very similar situation. Yes. So something we found is where we started one of the repairs, what the springs are coming up into the road. So there's water actually coming up through that seam of where we joined up with the existing road. And not much I can do. Water's flowing through there 365 days a year, so hard one to repair.
So how much, is that gonna be much inconvenience? Like, is there many heavy traffic is only if somebody needs a load of gravel or a load of sod or a load of lumber?
Yeah, so I mean.
It's not steady through traffic?
It's not, and a lot of the requests are because transportation still has their road bans on. So they want to skip through and get over to their gravel pit instead of touching Highway 743 where they can get their hand very heavily slapped. So they want to get an exemption to come on our roads. Luckily, people that were asking we have a fairly decent relationship with, so it was yeah, that sucks, but I guess we'll wait. So, and the ones that we have been talking with, already kind of expected this to happen. It's kind of being alluded to, and now, actually just this morning, I signed the order to ban it permanently to 50%.
So there's residents down there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they wanna, I'm just,
We can work with them.
well, yeah, you will work with them on a case by case, you know, if you're building a new shop and you need a load of cement delivered, or you need a
Yeah.
load of rafters.
We can deal with it on a case by case basis. It's just, we don't want, for example, there's a gravel pit down in that area. We don't want them hauling full axle weight up that road. You know, one example was, they wanted to haul about 10,000 ton out there. And they wanted to use that road. Lightly told them no. So it's just to save the road as best we can.
And I know one guy's farming on both sides, or a couple guys are farming on both sides. That's like for hauling hay and grain, it's gonna be either go around, I guess, or
Ag is exempt, Gary.
they are exempt.
Yes. It's been a problem.
Yeah.
It's-
I know,
and it's not gonna stop.
Yeah.
So,
There was a little bit that they didn't quite finish, that's gonna be done. That last little bit.
yeah, we're gonna try to address that as well as that little bit of a seam where one of the springs is. And I mean, we didn't know at the time that there was a spring right there. And so, once we did that work, and now everything come springtime is thawed out. Well, now that waterfall's path of least resistance, and that seam was it. And I mean, we could probably end up chasing that for all the way to the highway, but gonna do the best we can.
Yeah.
Cause that is one of the worst ones in the area. There are lots of them there. That's the water well that's there, that's why it has such water. Probably will never run dry.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Yeah. So bridges, we, as I said earlier, our bridges in Warrensville and North Star area were finished. We're just waiting here on an invoice for that. Carcajou Bridge file, the one we're gonna stick a liner through, that I have a meeting coming up on Friday to do pre-construction, figure out how and when and all that's gonna happen. We also, following that meeting, we'll be doing I guess analysis of the bridges that we want to do for bridge maintenance this year. So I'll have more information on that later. Probably the next meeting. I suspect that bridges is gonna be a permanent thing on this report for the foreseeable future. Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying something. Okay. Also, just one little addition that Public Works Week went really well. Food for thought. We did a bunch of schools for serving breakfast to the kids. Yeah, it just went well. Had just over a dozen people for our open house. Kids loved seeing the equipment and all that fun stuff. So that is all I have for you, unless you have questions on other things.
Another inquiry about calcium, when is that gonna start in dust control?
That will likely be probably early next month. We're still trying to line up times with the contractor. Come up.
That's only a week away, or next month.
No, I know, I actually owe him a call here today, he sent me a message.
The other question was, are they gonna start in the north and work south? I said, well, I don't know, what's that up to you?
Please.
Flip it around,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just his comment, so. Actually, on the early repairs.
Yeah, no, we're trying to get things moving here, so
Good. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say that the Warrensville Bridge and ski ramp looks fantastic. I went for a drive and it was much needed and it looks fantastic.
No, they did. In all honesty, the contractor did excellent work, and that, obviously, that bridge and the North Star Bridge were both additions to the work that they were gonna do. And they gave us excellent price for it and phenomenal work.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Okay, so no other questions, we get a motion to accept the DPW report from the commission. Councillor Beckett, all in favor? Carried, thanks, Charles.
Thank you, council.
Move down to 6.6.2, item A, rec board donations. From November to April. Who's gonna speak now?
Didn't have a game plan. Don't think it actually really needs to be spoken to, though. These are just the reporting of each rec board and what they've paid, so. There for your review.
So, I lost the page, do I go ahead?
It is so the North Redford doesn't, is that just all they've done from November 24 to April? Do they have funds yet in there?
They have funds. It says they haven't.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I can.
They haven't given us a report.
Okay, thank you.
So, the question I have, and maybe this is wrong, I think, but like the, one of the donations, $2,800 to the Colorado Junior Senior High Volleyball Tournament, is that big tournament coming up in the fall? At the, they're planning a provincial, hosting a provincial tournament? Do you know?
Trinity, do you have backup for that one? Any chance?
And the other reason I'm asking, I thought we kind of had a policy that you couldn't kind of double dip rate, you couldn't get a council grant and a rec board grant on the same.
You are correct. However, if nobody knows what everybody's paying, that becomes kind of hard to enforce. I have no idea if it's the same thing. I haven't seen the paperwork, so.
I don't believe it.
I'm guessing Trent is busy.
Which one?
Oh, wow.
I'm quite certain the one that you guys funded directly through council was a club volleyball thing, or it was a provincial.
But when they have been asking for that, eventually or something.
I have two people talking, whatever.
Provincial, I thought it was for.
The one that we give $10,000 to, well, we give 10,000 to a provincial tournament, right? And I'm not sure if this is the same thing, and I just should be clear on that, I guess, when there's kind of a policy you can apply to one or the other, but not both.
I think it's clearly stated in words.
Should have been on there.
I don't, people don't understand that, Terry. I don't think the rec board is the rec board, not the county. It's kind of how it's viewed. And how are we gonna enforce it if we don't have reports from the rec board? The rec board already has their funds, so I can't really pull their money back.
You said
I haven't reached out to them.
You and I'm just trying to remember if I.
This says this is funds in 2024. Didn't they present to us in 2025?
this is from January to April.
Was it
No, this is
2024,
November 24th.
On the bottom of that, of the North Red Board, it says 2024 funds.
Yeah, because they haven't reported anything they've
Yeah,
done for
so-
this year, so I don't think it's the
No,
same
this is
thing.
This is 2024.
No,
I'll look through my emails from.
One quick question, is that the only ones that the North Export funded? Literally three.
Well, I thought we went through it. But it says November 24th, to April 25th.
yes, so the South Board is in 2025, quarter one report, so. Yeah, hello.
I don't want to bring up the dreaded like culture policy that's getting redone, but is how all that reporting is in that package, right? So like, that'll all be addressed when we get a chance to go
Yeah.
through that next.
Yeah, and so we've got administration well underway working on that.
I know it's a huge ugly one, but the reporting and all that is part of the policy, correct?
You know, it's gonna come down to enforcement, so if
Yeah.
we pay a rec board's $80,000 and then they don't give us a report, what do you guys want us to do about that?
But maybe council like to take it over and become a record. I'm not the. No, but I mean.
But a conversation when we get to that policy review, I guess, right?
Maybe just a quick comment on that one is that, as far as I understand, the rec boards are entities on their own, as in it's either charities or not-for-profit organized societies, so it's not something that the county can just take over. What we can do is we could withhold our funding towards it and do it ourselves internally, so just.
Something to consider. Okay, any other questions out of this report?
Sorry, and the reason why I said that is that there was a requirement from council to see if we could change the terms of reference, but we do not have any jurisdiction. We can make recommendations to them, but we cannot say you will have a councillor allowed to have a vote on that.
Right.
That's all.
I'm just there as an observer, is what I understood. They've never, well,
You said on the cell phone?
Yeah.
I've
You
never,
don't
like,
vote?
No, I don't vote.
but do you go
It's
to,
just, oh yeah, I go to the meeting.
they don't have a meeting,
If
it's
something
just,
comes up that's not really clear, should we, can we fund this or whatever?
the North does not have a meeting. I've
Policy.
never been to one meeting except through email. This is somebody asked for this.
They don't have to meet in person, but,
Should be.
they should meet, somehow.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
talk to Austin Boss, because I think he's maybe one of the reps on that.
I think Austin, I think Diane Bearden, well, Robert, she kind of just arbitrarily does things, I think.
She doesn't, yeah, that's what I was saying.
As a consultant, but anyway, we'll have to look at that policy.
Would be nice.
Okay,
I could make a motion to
okay,
accept the
Councillor Sheldon makes a motion to receive the rec board report, accept the information, all in favor? It's carried. Another addition was under Ag Services, is this 2025 Spring Ag Service Board town hall invitation, Blake.
We start before Blake starts, just to congratulate him on baby number 2.
I didn't have it, but yeah, no, he's sleeping through the night mostly. Little rough night last night.
That's what his wife said.
Not too bad. No, she's only getting up once in the night now already, so. Pretty good. He's sleeping like 4 or 5 hour stretches. He's gained all his weight back from leaving the hospital, so. I imagine she'll try to get him close to 6, 8 hours if he'll do it as soon as possible, but everything's going good. Thank you.
Yeah, so this, received this invitation to this town hall, which they're always very interesting. John Conrad can speak all day there, and we couldn't forward it somehow, right?
Yeah, it seems like the invite list is locked on their end, so I just copied the link to the Teams link and I sent all the counselors that link. So whenever it's open June 4th, 11 to 12, if you guys want to hop on, if not, I imagine Terry will log on and I'll log on and we'll listen and kind of see what they say for information. But if you guys have free time. This morning they sent the invite for the to have like a Microsoft Outlook calendar appointment, so you get reminders. But if not, you just set a reminder on your phone and just on June 4th, just hit that link and it should take you to I think it's the Teams. I think it's a Teams meeting. Yeah, so you should just be able to click that link, then it'll open the Teams meeting, and then obviously on their end, they're gonna have somebody letting people in, so it's just whether they're gonna search your email or something and see you weren't an original email recipient, because the email did say that specified that it was only sending it to the chairs and the fieldmen. So I'm not sure if they don't want other people attending, but you guys are more than welcome to try.
Maybe I don't like that we carry on, or who could resend that link, so make it simpler that we could just.
Carrie Ann, I can ask Carrie Ann. She's the one who's been sending the email. I can phone her today, text her or something.
That's just for information if someone would like to accept that.
Okay, any questions on that? So an hour, so. Be lots of topics he generally covers in an hour there, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Get a motion to acknowledge receipt of the invitation. Okay, Councillor Sinsky, all in favor? Period. What else you got for us? Nothing?
Nothing unless you guys have anything. We're gonna get shelter belt trees here in this week and next week, so we'll be doing that.
Summer staff is busy.
Summer staff started like May 5th was their first day, so they've kind of been mowing, it's been dry, so they're way on top of things.
Ditch mowing.
Ditch mowing will start here in like middle of June. It's kind of when we start. Yeah, doing the north first, so wards 5, 6, and 7. So Gloria's ward, Terry and Linda's ward, so we're gonna kind of come up with a game plan one day with Charles when
You do whatever you wanna do, I'm not graveling up there.
we're gonna start wherever. Pardon me, sorry? Yeah, wards 5, 6, and 7. Up to the road Josh lives on. North Star Road, I think, is 4-5 boundary. So part of your area, like, well, not part of your area, but like pretty close to the south border of yours. But 5, 6, and 7 should be done. So we'll probably start, Charles don't care. We'll probably start somewhere right around Manning just to let them get their feet wet. Dry this year, I guess. Looks like a drought. So far.
I'd like to see Gloria's road done.
Yeah.
Charles needs brownie points to start.
Can you start calcium?
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
Okay, bye.
Okay, we can move down to items 8.0 info package. And the comments over there, not the motion to accept the information. Motion all in favor, carried. Open mic, Dan.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the town hall meetings. So is that confirmed that it's June 23 on Riverville and June 27 in Nottingham?
Correct.
26.
26 and then.
26. And is
Is that confirmed though, or we have to confirm booking it first?
It's contingent on that, but I would say that we'll find a venue, so if we don't, then we'll have to reschedule it, but.
I mean, like for the presenters and stuff though?
Yeah, we'll have that confirmed this afternoon when we open, right? The halls.
The holes.
That's what I meant, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's the first step, right?
and would you call these informational sessions or public discussions or sort of a combination of the two?
Calling it a town hall meeting with some information provided, so I guess label it how you want, I don't know, but
Well, you mentioned that there was going to be an expert, forget the first name, but it was Alexander, which gentleman.
yeah, Neil Alexander.
Yeah, but that's tentative though,
That's kind of what.
tentative, but it's not necessarily that he's going to be there. Like you could have, you want to have an expert there.
Well, I guess, I don't quite follow your question. I mean, yeah, we thought that since this is a topic that we're not experts on, it would be nice to have somebody who kind of just give a bit of background and then have both sides, right? You can have, and then.
He's asking if that election is confirmed.
Yeah, well, semi-confirmed, he said that he would be willing to come out if we give him some dates. Now that we have dates established, we'll circle back to him and see if that fits his schedule.
Perfect. Yep. Right, thanks.
Nothing else?
No, nothing else.
No, that's okay, we have one delegation to make a decision on.
Actually, 2, because I'd like a motion for the cleanup lots.
Yeah, I guess Al was a delegation as well, right? So.
Yeah.
We can do that one first. Well, we'll do it in order.
That's fine.
I guess the Ken Sargent thing first. And
yeah, we didn't have a motion from last meeting because we were waiting.
We'll do that. So I mean, as far as her doing a presentation on the Ken Sargent House. I really think, I mean, yeah, we could give $1,000 at the council grants, which is not even gonna. Buy a chair for their place, so I mean, if we wanna be serious about it, it would be a budget. Item, I think, unless we go into reserves, so I don't know that we want to do that. I mean, we also have a. Request from the basketball center kind of sitting on the side that we haven't made any decisions on, so. I think really these will have to be moved to the budget time. Is my opinion, I don't know.
You've got $33,250 left in your grants budget.
What is that, June first?
That $15 a resident, you know, is what she mentioned, if they got $15 per resident. That gives
54, around 50,000.
Yeah.
You don't have the grass or no.
My kind of thought was it's gonna have to be a budgetary item. I think it's a very noble thing, and I think we all have personal stories that we could share about things like that. But I would like maybe like us to see sending a letter of support and just telling them that we're willing to look at it at budget time, but that we're supportive of their endeavors, and we will seriously talk about it at budget time.
What is that, what roll back up there?
Very well. Did I talk
Yeah.
fast?
It's always by Councillor Chubb. Any other discussion? Call for vote, all in favor? Carried. Okay, and then the ICP doesn't require any response. The clean of flats delegation was simply looking for clarification of where the county responsibility ended, right? And I mean, the one resident or property owner, or a resident, the real residents, said that she would look for a letter saying that the county agreed to maintain the road down to the boat launch, but as for now, we don't have that, so.
Yes,
That would be a separate issue.
But yeah, like guys, so in the last meeting, I was just seeking motion to provide us some direction on what council wants to see. So from everything that we've discussed then and today, that council would like to see us grade to the bottom of the hill, as we have been doing, and calcium as they have applied for this year.
So did we not decide on the calcium last time?
We did, but there was no motion for it.
Well, I will make this motion. Continue as we have been, just to the bottom of the hill. And by calcium this year only.
So I think you should just clarify that maintaining the recreation road. So we're not including the streets within the subdivision, right?
So what was that? That road called?
They said
Township Road 950.
the access road to the subdivision, right?
Yeah, you can just call it the access road to the subdivision, or Township Road 915 is what it's technically.
That ends at the bottom of the hill.
Is it 914? Sorry, 914, Pearl.
Close one.
And maybe
915.
and maybe call it Cleaner Flats subdivision. Councillor 60 made that motion.
Is that clear enough for your direction? Can we just put, and apply the calcium on the internal roads.
Just one road.
Well, there's,
Section.
no, there's a couple areas that they're gonna do, they didn't want it all in one spot,
Oh.
so.
And maybe just, sorry, maybe can we add that they have to prepare the actual roads for the calcium?
Sure,
application?
we could put that
It's
in
not
there
on
too.
us to prepare the roads.
Cause it's, yeah, like I stated before, it's like the town of Mannings, we don't do any gravel on it, so. I don't know.
If required, if required. Is that enough clarity, Charles, the way it's written?
Yeah, that's fairly in depth, I like.
Well, just, this is your chance to, if you're missing anything,
No, I
you're good with that?
like her.
Okay. Any final comments? All in favor? Spirit. Okay. That takes us to in camera. So we'll vote to go in camera. Councillor Albeski, all in favor? Carried. That's at 11:30, 12:33. So. Who is done with these?
It's a front, actually, we not without council, so I think it's a front that says.
Be nice to know. Did we?
I didn't get it.